The Washington Commanders have been submitted, one by the Josh Harris Group, which now includes Magic Johnson, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the other by Canadian billionaire Steve Apostolopoulos, according to Schefter and ESPN's Brian Windhorst. Both meet owner Dan Snyder's $6 billion asking price. With the scandal surrounding Snyder and the team, the hope of NFL owners is that this sale is completed relatively soon, explains ESPN's Dan Graziano.
When we've talked to people here about the Commanders situation, the sense you get is that the owners would really like the sale to move along and reach its conclusion so they don't have to worry about, taking a vote to remove Dan Snyder or anything like that. They want him to sell and have it clean, and then he's out, and they have a new business partner there in Washington that can maybe get a stadium built and all that.
Dan Graziano on Fitz and Harry. High praise for Aaron Rodgers today from Packers coach Matt LaFleur. Said at the NFL owners meetings he's got nothing but love and appreciation for all Rodgers has done for so many in Green Bay. He also said to temper expectations for QB Jordan Love. Packers have no deadline to finalize Rodgers' trade to the Jets.
A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, two men, one journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit. Let's go! Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy, ladies and gentlemen. It is a Tuesday here in the Ingles Studio. We are live on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And, of course, we can be seen every time we're live on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link, subscribe to the channel. That'll get you into the chat and, of course, live alerts and all that good stuff that goes along with being a subscriber of ours. All of the three-round mock drafts that are going to be going out soon. That's all that's going to be coming your way.
It's going to be 4 days of fun.
We're also going to be dropping for you and including in the lives here our biggest draft needs for every NFL team, starting with the ones with the most capital. At least that is what we're doing today.
Tomorrow it'll be the ones with the least capital.
That's right. We'll keep doing that back and forth until we meet in the middle. So today we're going to look at the Texans and the Seahawks and the Lions and what they need in this draft.
Hey, they all have 2 first-round picks. Weird how that works.
Got a lot to play with, so there's a lot of concocting that Flostradamus Jeremy Greene can do as he is the draft guy at ESPN Draft Nerd on the Twitter machine.
On the old tweet.
That's right. We got a lot to get into today, and might as well just go ahead and kick off the opening drive. It's always brought to you by Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. AndersonNissan.com. 629 Brevard Road is the address. Go by and check out the showroom. Certified pre-owned vehicles galore. Also, of course, all the brand spanking new stuff like Jeremy's Pro 4X Titan Brown thing that's just massive.
That is desert sand.
They
have figured out that Jeremy likey the Titan. I have now, but this will be my third Titan. I just love this truck. Actually, I was at the gas station fueling that one back up, so whoever is lucky enough to take it home has a full tank of gas. You're welcome.
Kind.
Well, I'd also washed it because, I got a little dirty. I ran into somebody that listens to the show, wonderfully nice guy, and the first thing he asked me was, where did you get this beautiful truck? And I was happy to tell him, 629 Brevard Road. Call them today to set up your test drive and tell them the formerly fat guys of the Sportsocracy sent you.
That's right. Don't forget, you can get the $250 bonus on your trade-in just by telling them that you heard about them here in the Sportsocracy.
And you will just stroke my ego if you go, I want the one that fat guy with a mullet posted on the Bucka face. I mean, it's probably not going to help you in any way, but They'll tell me, I'll feel good. And
It will help you because you'll get the $250 on your trade-in.
Bingo.
Yeah, and you can boost Jeremy's ego at the same time. Not that he really needs it, but, I mean, do you want to go ahead and give us a little preview of what's coming on later?
Oh.
I mean, he who shall not be named, who was on conversation probation, we have to talk about him today.
Boys and girls, we're getting close. The day is drawing nigh that he who shall not be named, Captain Hiawaska himself, will be the starting quarterback of the New York Jets, and we'll talk about that later in the show. But there's one big story of the day, and it's 2 fully financed $6 billion offers for the Washington Commanders.
Mm-hmm. That deal's going to be coming very, very soon.
And you know what that means? There's a report out today, and I can confirm the NFL plans on this being done by the draft. Now, whether it's the Magic Johnson group or the George Stephanopoulos, Apostolopoulos. Apparently, I got his name right first time I said it.
That's one of those that I look at and I go, there's no way that Jeremy Greene, Mr. West Virginia, got that off the rip. It's got to be Apostolopoulos or something. No, apparently it's Apostolopoulos.
Well, here's the thing. That West Virginia application, or that West Virginia education, even though I didn't finish it, it comes in handy sometimes.
It just sounds weird when rednecks like us say it.
I don't know that you can say rednecks like us. I mean,
you're the one driving a big old truck and look like Luke Combs. Don't tell me you ain't got some redneck in you.
It wasn't me that I was pushing back on, Boosies.
Oh, no.
And there's a lot of names I could think to call you. Redneck is not one of them.
Well, I mean, I did grow up in the Lester community, so I've got, I got some by osmosis.
Yeah. I don't think it's stuck.
Anyway, yeah, we got 2 major bids for the Washington Commanders that we'll get into in just a second. We've also got a big old development coming out of the state capitol in Raleigh, as we could have the one thing that we've been begging for years in this state as sports fans, and that's legalized sports gambling. Yes, we'll give you the details. We'll give you the details on what's going on at the state capitol, and I don't know, maybe we'll get some not really live look-ins here, but I'll be tracking the progress of the bill as it comes up for debate today, but it looks like that thing could get done within just a matter of hours. Well, I mean, got to do final approvals and such tomorrow if it passes the vote tonight, but could be active January 1st. Legalized sports gambling in the state of North Carolina. Like I said, we'll get into it. Plus, we got top 13, another one of the top 13s in the NFL draft.
And this is the one that you should look forward to every year because it's the position I'm the best at.
That's right, Mr. Tight End Whisperer. Jeremy Greene's going to give us his top 13 tight ends for this 2023 NFL draft class. Plus, in the daily draft, we'll do that thing that we've been doing. We will draft the top tight end prospects from the last 6 classes.
And unlike the previous ones, there's a whole mess that are in this draft that'll be in this draft.
And again, Jeremy, this is 2018 to now.
You're wearing a shirt with a beaver on it.
Uh-huh. The only better shirt I could think of would have how many?
2.
Exactly.
Because 2 beavers are always better than 1.
Beavers are better than 1.
Boom!
You are in the Sportsocracy, and, man, the Washington Commanders, fans of the Washington Commanders, it's finally happening. I mean, you're on the brink of seeing your team change hands, which is the one thing that you've been begging for years now. And it looks like Daniel Snyder, once again, holds all the cards here. He gets to pick on what bid to accept, because the reports out today are that there are 2 fully financed $6 billion deals on his desk. One from the group with Josh Harris and Magic Johnson and Mitchell Rales. The other one from Steve Apostolopoulos.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's a word I say right, and you don't.
It's Apostolopoulos and
Antetokounmpo.
Yep, that guy. Greek Freak, and I guess we can call him Greek Freak as well. Apostolopoulos?
No.
It's Greek? I mean, anyway. So there are 2 fully funded $6 billion deals on the table. And now Daniel Snyder and Tanya Snyder, they get to pick whichever bid they want.
Well, I mean, look, the Snyders are going to make over $5 billion in this deal. The fact that they're fully funded, that means a lot because there's really no way for Dan Snyder to pull out of this at this point. They're pushing him to sell. I think he's gotten to the point he wants to sell, and now you've got two different offers. So there's really – it's not going to be Jeff Bezos from everything that we have as we've gone down the rabbit hole. And this is going to be the biggest sale of a professional sports franchise in the history of North America. And it's the best thing that could ever happen for the Washington area. Look, this is a legacy franchise that has in large part been
awful.
I think awful is probably a little heavy-handed.
When was the last time they made the playoffs?
More recently than the Jets.
It was like 2013, maybe
2016, I believe, but I could be wrong.
But that was a one-off from like 1990 something.
The franchise hasn't been good. It needs direction. It needs the drama to go away. And I feel like with where it sits, I like Ron Rivera better now than I ever have before. I've always thought he was a little bit overrated as a coach, but he's a really good culture setter, and he's done a great job of that with not a lot to work with out of the ownership group. So now you get, whether it's Josh Harris and Magic Johnson or Astalopoulos, that's at least stability. And that's what you need. Because, look, I'll tell you, people I know around the league, that Washington franchise has been, okay, there are 31 jobs, and then there's that one that I won't take.
Right.
But because I don't want to work for that. I don't want to be attached to that. I don't want my name attached to that and what it could do to my career. So, I mean, a lot of people probably think that, well, you're just trading in one billionaire for another. No, you're not. And I know Carolina fans, the market that we're in, have not always loved David Tepper. But I want you to think about how different – well, just look at how different your franchise is right now than it was when he bought it. All right, Charlotte's a small media market. Washington's not. The money was never the problem. It was that you get scouts that are really good that didn't want to be attached to Daniel Snyder. Jerry Richardson did not have that problem. He had his own set of problems. They were just always considered to be small market. Then you get one of the richest owners in the sport, and all of a sudden now you have probably the best coaching staff in the league from the top down. I'm not saying you have the best head coach, but you've got a really good, really deep staff of guys that had options. It's not ironic that the first time that's ever happened in your franchise's history was with David Tepper and not Jerry Richardson. There's a reason for that. You know, the old saying that excrement travels downhill. That's a saying for a reason.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to throw shade at Jerry Richardson. There was just always a thought that he didn't have the money that the other owners did. There were some weird things that went on in the franchise, and they had a very small market vibe.
To me, when I look at a new ownership group coming in, the first question I have, and I think everybody has, is what kind of football people are these? Are these football people? Are these people that are going to insert themselves into the discussion, or are they going to do like David Tepper, for example? I felt like at the very beginning it was David Tepper going, I used to be a minority owner for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can make all of these decisions. And then he made a couple of decisions, and guess what? They flamed up in his face, and then he went, okay.
Oh, I should turn this over to the football people.
Yeah, so Scott, I'm going to need you to play a big role. I'm going to go get some veteran coaches that I respect in the building, and then we're gonna work this out. That's where I feel like this team's at now.
Absolutely.
And Washington could very well be in the same spot. You just never know. The first thing on all of our minds has to be get Daniel Snyder out.
Yes.
And
because he's the worst owner in sports. He's gone. This is done.
Right.
Now it's just a question of what is the name on the other side of this contract.
He had two Scrooge McDucks pull up with wheelbarrows full of cash and go, here you go.
Well, and the thing I think you have to look at is that we've seen Magic Johnson as an owner. I don't believe that Magic Johnson would be attached to an ownership group that's going to be meddling. I struggle to believe that. The other guy, I have absolutely no idea. Tillman Fertitta, I feel like he's probably going to have a ginormous offer here at some point as well. So you'll probably have three. Fertitta, I've seen what he's done with the Rockets. I know it has not gone particularly well on the court, but he's been a good owner. And so I think if you look at Washington, an improvement is not saying much. if you have even a league average owner, the Waltons with the Denver Broncos, or one of these owners whose name you never hear, you're 10 times better off than you are right now. And that leads me to believe that you'll wind up with better scouts. You'll wind up with better trainers. The things that none of us talk about. Coaches, there are 32 coaching jobs in the NFL. Okay, the worst job in this league is better than any other job in all of football, in the coaching realm. But when you get into these back-of-house things, that's where you really start to see an owner. And frankly, the fact that this Washington team is as talented as they are right now speaks volumes. I don't know who's doing it. I have absolutely no idea. But this is a dysfunctional organization. Has been forever. And you're almost to the end. And you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is Daniel Snyder going away.
I got to correct myself. I did not give the Washington Commanders organization enough credit. Since the turn of the century, they have made the playoffs 5 times.
I thought it was 3.
5 times.
You actually gave more credit than I did.
How many playoff games have they won?
0.
And 1.
Oh, they won
one playoff
2001.
game in 2005.
Oh.
They beat my Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the opening round of the playoffs. Their last appearance was in 2020, where they lost, and Taylor Heineken popped onto the scene as a starting quarterback, giving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all they can handle in that first-round playoff game. But you think in the last 25 years this team's made the playoffs 6 times. That's insane.
Well, and there's another layer of this that was just said in our YouTube comments. We're going to take a quick break. After that, we'll touch on that, of how big of a difference can this actually make, even if the owner is not exactly who you want it to be, because who you're replacing was just that bad.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingles, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a pro.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingles,
See you later, Dad.
all
Bye.
the ingredients for family.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Don't miss the factory-authorized clearance at Sonny's Camp and Travel. All 2022 RVs must go. Look for the blue tags with clearance pricing up to 40% off on America's favorite brands. Hurry! When the tags are gone, so are the savings. Get 40% off at the factory-authorized clearance at Sonny's Camp and Travel, a Blue Compass RV company. Visit Sonny'sRV.com. Example 22 Braxton Creek Free Solo, number SI 1026, MSRP 22222. See dealer for details.
At Staples, school is always in session, and savings never take a holiday, especially now during Staples Teacher Palooza. You save big on everything for school, like 20% on all Crayola products, up to 40% on brands like Post-it, Papermate, and Elmer's. Plus, 24-pack cases of True Clear bottled water are only $3.99. During Staples Teacher Palooza, teachers save big and so do you, with classroom deals for everybody. But deals end soon, so hurry to Staples today. Offers end 4/1, in-store only, limit 1 on water while supplies last.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, "Navage is the best thing I bought. I love it. My nose feels so clear now and I can breathe. I've been struggling with a stuffy nose for weeks. I bought Navage and it's amazing." Or this one, I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats, and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better." Unquote. Those are 2 of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, eh, Cot?
I really wish that you guys could see Jeremy's little happy Arnie Palmy dance that he does.
Look, all right, so I'm getting married in 2 months. Trying to slim down so that, so that the tux looks right.
Right.
I mean, because the hair is going to be on point. Mullet just flowing in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd like to be as trim as possible. So I'm basically doing an extended, fighter trim down that an old trainer of mine has been leading me on. And one of the things that I discovered was that you can mix a squeezed vitamin water with Gold Peak sweet tea, and it's very hydrating and very wonderful. So there's a little accompanying dance. It's not as goofy as Tank's "Who's Gonna Break the News" dance.
No, it looks more like a cartoon seal coming up out of the water. Just flapping the arms and everything. His little Arnie Palmy dance.
It's so good.
It's quite hilarious. It is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, and the Washington Commanders are going to sell. Daniel Snyder, Tanya Snyder, they're getting out of the football business. They now have 2 competing $6 billion fully funded offers on the table. So they get to pick. Can somebody else jump in and match it and make this a closer one? Jeremy mentioned Tillman Fertitta and his group.
He's certainly going to have an offer. And I'll be honest with you, he doesn't get beat financially very often.
Right. So will he come in with $6.25 billion?
I'll go $6 billion and $1, Bob.
We're playing the prices right here between 2 groups and possibly more for the Washington Commanders. The number one thing, though, to get done when you get into town is you start breaking ground on these talks for a new stadium.
No doubt. Patrick Holt did not super chat this, but we're going to play the noise anyway because it was this good of a point.
I'm your huckleberry.
They need a new stadium at a better location, worst stadium in the NFL, and it's next to impossible to get in Landover. And that's kind of the point. That's one of the things that is a benefit here. Nobody wants to work with this guy. So Daniel Snyder has basically said he will front a good amount of the money for many years. Nobody will approve the permits. Nobody will go anywhere with him because they don't want to do anything to keep him in power.
Right.
The minute somebody else takes over, doesn't matter who it is, it's all good. This is almost like when you have the disastrous relationship and your parents absolutely hate the other person. They're going to like the next one to some point just because they're not the previous one. Not saying that from prior experience 11 times, actually.
Right. And to me, that's why the Josh Harris Mitchell Rails group makes the most sense.
Well,
both of those guys are the money in that group, and they're both from the area. They're both from the D.C. metro area,
and they've been affiliated with teams in the past. You've also got Magic Johnson with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that feels right to me. And you look at where the current stadium is; it's nowhere near anything. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and it doesn't really allow it to be a boom for the area. And so one of these guys is going to come in. They're going to, without a doubt, have a proposal in place for a new stadium because that is the worst stadium in the NFL, and I don't think it's all that close.
Mm-hmm.
And that's coming from a guy that was just in let's see, what do they call it now? It's the old Joe Robbie. So
Hard Rock?
Hard Rock? I think it's Hard Rock.
Yeah,
now,
Hard Rock Stadium.
Which is...
You just went there. How do you...
Well, they've probably changed names 4 times since then, and it's a dump.
I was going to say, it hasn't been Land Shark in a while.
Well, I almost said Land Shark. I'm not going to lie. Hadn't been Joe Robbie in a while either, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. All right, so, I mean, the stadium's got to be the number one because, I mean, it got to a point where, I mean, just this past season, it seemed like every week we were having some kind of YouTube video leaking out about, and then I say that all pun intended, of, the sewers or the pipes, drenching people in the crowd as the toilets are flushed above them. And
if I saw one more headline that had the phrase poo bowl in it, Because that's basically what that place is. It's just a septic tank.
And that you would expect from, and this is not by any means taking a shot at the organization or anything, but I mean, that's something that you expect from the Oakland A's, right? And that disaster of a deal that they've had with the Alameda County and all of that.
At Sports Tank ESPN.
Again, not taking a shot at that organization. I'm just saying you would expect that from, a very smaller market team.
No, this is a premier franchise.
Right. This is the Washington, D.C. This is the capital of the freaking nation. And this is what you trot out?
I mean, this is one of the top 7 or 8 legacy franchises in the entire league. So, and I hate to use the Colin Cowherd line here, this league is better if Washington is good. There are certain teams that create such a visceral response that it's just better when they're good because you either love them or you hate them or you have there's very few people that look at them and just go, that are over 25 years old. Now, if you're that young, they've never mattered to a point that you really cared.
Right. I mean, there was a time in my childhood, speaking to the younger audience, there was a time in my childhood where the Washington Commanders, or the former name, I mean, they were one of the franchises in the NFL. It was them, the Dallas Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, that's just in the NFC. And since 1993 or whatever, this team has been irrelevant. And it's sad.
And this, I feel like now that we've discussed the ownership group, the stadium, this would be a really good time to say, I like this roster. And with Sam Howell, you're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Still got those high hopes for Sam Howell. He was the number 1 quarterback on Jeremy Greene's board in last year's draft.
By a lot.
Mm-hmm.
By a drastic amount.
Right. Washington picked him up in the 5th round, was it?
Yeah, which is still stupid to me. Hey, Carolina, just remember, you traded up for Matt Corral instead of Sam Howell.
Mm-hmm.
How's that sitting with you right now? All of you that felt the urge to tweet me, oh, Matt Corral's so good, you're so stupid. Yeah, how'd that work out?
Yeah. It's just fine.
That's victory lap number 1.
It's just fine. We got C.J. Stroud coming in. Everything's going to be good.
That was victory lap number 1. There's a much better one coming at the end of the next hour.
It is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Look, we all hope that the deal gets done. It looks like it's on track to get done before the NFL draft, which would be phenomenal.
It would be phenomenal. I mean, just think about how much you could do around the draft in Washington. I don't even care who your pick is. I think it'll be Devin Witherspoon, the corner out of Illinois. But just think about the initial press conference where whoever this kid is that you take at 16 comes in, and you've got the new group finalized, and there's no more Daniel Snyder, and there's no more dark cloud hanging over this franchise, and the division is good, and the rivalries are good, and your roster is good, and you can just move past what has been this dark time in the history of the franchise and move into the next era, whatever that is. There's a grand possibility that whoever comes in here does the same thing Tepper did. And you meddle in some decisions, and you probably make some bad decisions because virtually every owner does that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're at least trending in the right direction because, frankly, it can't be any worse. Daniel Snyder's the worst professional owner in my lifetime that's not named Marge Schott. And if you don't know why Marge Schott was worse, do me a favor and Google it and understand that wasn't that much worse than Daniel Snyder.
Right.
That's how bad this has been. Good for Washington. Good riddance to Daniel Snyder. Hail to the Commanders. What is it? Braves on the warpath. Fight for old D.C. Took me a minute to remember it.
Good for you.
Well, I mean, they don't say it very often. Sorry, that was a dig. That was uncalled for. In a good mood. Just trying to be nice today.
It is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be time to get just a bit outside, and then we'll start talking draft needs, starting with the team with the most capital in this 2023 NFL draft. It is the Houston Texans. What can they do? Can they revamp an entire dog water roster in just a matter of 2 years? We'll talk about it up next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder side of late March with some near freezing numbers in the valley tonight and tomorrow night, and below average temps here for midweek. Talking 35 degrees tonight with some sprinkles out there. Sunshine Wednesday, low humidity, high 60, low 32. Sunshine Thursday, high 65. And then some 70s come back in for the weekend ahead, along with rain returning Friday night and Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Shop Springfest at Lowe's today and save big on select major appliances. Get an additional $100 off select laundry pairs when you spend $1,296 or more. Valid through 4/12. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Exclusions apply. See Lowes.com for details.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Whether you are spraying down the shop or getting winter's grime off your own home, a pressure washer from Northern Tool says you're serious about spring cleaning. From all-electric Power Horse to Honda-powered Northstar models, they've got the right machine for any type of clean. Northern Tool and Equipment, we're made for this.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
For more information about contests on the station, log on to ESPNAVL.com.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
It is the Sportsocracy live in the Ingles studio, and Jeremy, you know who Jordan Love is, right?
I do.
Yeah.
He's the soon-to-be starting quarterback of your Green Bay Packers.
Right. You drop that name on football fans, and they go, oh, yeah. I mean, there's
he's
been
that quarterback
thing.
that for some reason they drafted when they had Aaron Rodgers.
Right. You know, we all know the name Jordan Love, even though you may never have seen him play. However, he has played in this league. And
apparently that was news.
It was news to someone because Andy Reid did an interview where the reporter asked him what he thought about Jordan Love in the game that he played against them. He said, what was that, 2 years ago? Andy Reid's response was, who's that? Jordan Love. Trying to remember Jordan Love. For the Packers, he started that game when Aaron Rodgers missed it because of COVID. Oh, yeah. I thought what I remember, I thought he was good. Yeah. He didn't know who the hell he was.
Which is
Andy Reid had no idea who
Jordan
Love was. No clue. He tried to save it there at the, respect the game.
Legendary player. Of course I know who that is.
Respect the game.
Oink.
I mean, I get Andy Reid's had a lot of years in this league. He's had a lot of games. He's prepared for a lot of quarterbacks. I feel like one that you had to play against 2 years ago. You should probably remember the name.
It's probably not one that you should not know who he is.
Although there again, it just proves to the world nobody cares about Jordan Love.
At Sports Tank ESPN. My story comes from the mothership, and it's one of the premier programs on all ESPN programs. What's the best show we do? I mean, minus ours.
I was going to say the Sportsocracy.
Minus ours.
3 to 6 weekday afternoons.
What is? Okay, let me rephrase this. We're the hidden little gem of ESPN.
Yes.
What is the big brand of ESPN outside of SportsCenter?
Oh, it's got to be First Take.
College Game Day is what I was referring to. Stop with First Take. Stephen A. Smith screaming at today's guest for him to yell
College
at.
Game Day.
Yeah, I'm going to pass. However, today we got big news about College Game Day. Pat Mac's coming back.
Oh, God.
Let's go. The greatest addition to any show in the history of television is coming back for another year. But there is cause for concern.
Okay.
Because apparently he does not have a long-term deal to do College Game Day. All he can confirm is that he will be back for this season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and this is not the West Virginia in me, I promise. And this is not the fact that I actually think Pat McAfee and I might be brothers because we're close to the same age. Don't look anything alike, but we act a lot alike. Get it done right now. I don't care if it costs $11 jillion. I don't care if you have to hand him a blank check and sell him part of Bristol, Connecticut. I don't care. The only reason I have watched that show in the last 10 years is Pat McAfee. I love Lee Corso. He's in his 80s, and he's in poor health. Pat Mac is the without a doubt replacement. And that's not a shot at Lee Corso. He's been doing this for a long time, done a great job. But at this point, I almost think it's disingenuous to ask him to continue to do it. I'm sure he wants to. He's just in poor health.
I don't know that anybody's asked him to continue it.
Well, I mean, they're wanting him to go out on his own terms, and I get that. But he missed several shows this year. Pat Mac is not just anybody can replace him. And I feel like that's what this is. This is the guy.
I would love to know what the response to that has been. Like inside the building when they sit down to do their analytics and they go through all of the fan stuff, I would love to know the breakdown of, I'm sure it's obviously mostly men. They're getting a lot of younger viewers because of Pat. I would imagine that it's overall positive, but he's not the godsend that you make him out to be for most people.
He was for the ratings.
Oh, and I'm not saying he's not. I don't
care what it says I don't care what happens in the building. I mean, look, and Pat and I have a lot of similarities. We're both loud. People either really like us or really don't. That's kind of the point.
Mm-hmm. I think it makes for a good show.
It no doubt makes for a great show.
I love watching College Game Day on Saturdays, turning it on the big TV in the family room, and just waiting for my wife to come around the corner because she hates Pat McAfee with a passion.
Which is insane.
She calls him that wrestler. And I'm like, honey, you know who this person is.
Greatest punter of all time. Modern day Ray Guy.
Right.
WrestleMania headliner.
Is that wrestler on again? He's not a wrestler, honey.
He is a
wrestler.
wrestler.
But he does wrestling. Well, yeah, but that's not his main thing. That's not how you should know him.
Pat McAfee, modern day Ray Guy, saver of College Game Day and WrestleMania headliner. Let's go. He's great. Get it done. Okay. ESPN. Okay.
By the way, I see no lies from Patrick Holt where he says Reggie Roby just entered the chat. Greatest punter ever.
Pat McAfee is the greatest punter ever. Okay. Not debatable. That was not up for discussion. I was stating a fact. We were moving on.
Aha.
And you know what we were moving on to? Draft needs for the Houston Texans.
That's right. Houston Texans have the most draft capital out of any team this year. They got a couple of first-round draft picks. So where are their needs?
Well, I mean,
everywhere.
I think there's a real obvious one, and it's the guy who snaps the football.
We need everything except for a left tackle, a running back, and a corner, and a safety. I got 4 positions checked off.
I mean, you have more checked off than that. I think you're being a little
hyperbolic,
a little doom and gloom.
Mm-hmm.
You did get Laramie Tunsil done, so I mean, left tackle is one of the most important positions in this league, especially if you have a young quarterback. So there's certainly a positive that you got that done. I feel like you have made additions to the receiver room. I'm just not overly wild about them. I mean, Robert Woods, yay, and that's a thing.
This is more of putting Flex Seal on the bottom of the screen door.
Well, I mean, and that's why to me your second biggest need is a legit weapon for your quarterback.
Yes,
I feel like Dalton Schultz can be a number 1 target, especially in an offense that I kind of know how it's going to run. You've got a lot of 49er disciples here, so this is going to look very Kyle Shanahan-y. And Dalton Schultz can play that George Kittle role. Now you need a legitimate number 1 receiver. And for me, that guy is no doubt Quentin Johnston. That's the need. I hate to phrase Brian Haynes here, but this is the first need that you needed. You're getting one of the 2 quarterbacks because you're picking at 2. So who are you going to put around him? And every time I do this, every mock draft we've done where Quentin Johnston goes at 12, somebody has something to say about it, and I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see how you could possibly have any other receiver in this class ahead of him.
Because maybe he's not a big enough name. Maybe they didn't watch TCU football. And the last receiver to come out of TCU, they look at and go, oh, that was who? Jalen Reagor? Yeah, I'll pass.
Well,
because fans are lazy and they do stuff like that. You know that.
Yeah. But for me, it's more that he didn't show up in the biggest game. Well, it was TCU and Georgia, okay?
Right.
He didn't have much of a shot in that game because there was nobody else that scared you. So they just locked him down. And I think a marriage of Bryce Young and Quentin Johnston is destined to be really, really good for the Houston Texans. Then you look at what they do moving forward from there. All right, this is the team with the most draft capital in the NFL. So, I mean, you've got a series of picks. It's not just what are you going to do in the first round. And I have a funny feeling that my Bucky's partner over here can probably tell you the name I'm getting ready to say because I think I've said it about 1,100 times. That pick at 33, when they come up in the second round, I'm not telling you this is their biggest need. What did the San Francisco 49ers do just ridiculously well? Other than get after the quarterback. It's not the secondary. And I could argue the Houston Texans have more talent in their secondary right now than the San Francisco 49ers did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not telling you I definitively believe that, but I could make the argument, and it would be at the very least coherent. And with the fact that you added Jimmy Ward, which should surprise no one, Jimmy Ward, Jalen Petrie, Derek Stingley, I feel like you're okay in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing that, to me, you're just completely missing. And I love that you signed Denzel Perryman and Corey Littleton. That's 2 lovely retribution projects that are, yeah, maybe this will work. You need a signal caller. You need that Fred Warner type of guy. And I think it's Trenton Simpson. And maybe I'm being lazy because when I watch him, I see D'Amico Ryans. That's the player I see on film. And everybody said, well, he wasn't that good last year. Name me the Clemson Tiger defender that was as good last year as he was the year before.
Right.
When you lose Brent Venables, it's kind of hard for that defense to look as good as it did previously. And I almost feel like we've gotten to a point where we're punishing every Clemson player. Do you see the same thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not high on Miles Murphy at all. But now I'm seeing him in the middle of the second round, which is, okay, we've gone too far.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone too far this way.
Mm-hmm.
I had Trenton Simpson in the top 20 for months. Now I get pushback when I take him at 33 to the Texans. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I also wouldn't mind Miles Murphy, just since we're talking about Clemson players.
Look, the further you get removed from successful seasons, the less your opinion's going to be of these guys. And so you look at Clemson had a down year last year, was not the national title contender that everybody expected them to be. That defense was, not what it was supposed to be. And everybody downgrades these guys. Brian Brise, and they just all get lumped into it.
That's a whole different story to me. Breeze had some health issues. He had his sister pass away. I mean, there were a lot of layers to Brian Breeze, and there's not the depth of the film. With Trenton Simpson, there's no lack of film of him being really good. It's just a good bit of it was not last year.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times he looked a little out of position. In college, I can put that as much on the coordinator as I can on the player.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, you're not going to fix this pass rush in a year. And that's where I think people gristle is, well, there's pass rushers and Felix Anudike-Uzomah that'll be there, maybe Will McDonald, Miles Murphy, who is a guy that I've considered with their 3-round mock draft that'll be out later in the week. You're not fixing that pass rush right now. I mean, I get that you have Jerry Hughes and Sheldon Rankins. That's adorable. And Sheldon Rankins played for my team. And it's going to help. But you're not going to be a phenomenal pass rushing team this year. I mean, am I wrong on that?
No, I don't think
There's
so.
not a player you're taking here. I don't care if you take them at 2, 12, or 33 that's going to fix this.
Mm-mm.
What I want to do is lay foundation pieces. And I feel like Trenton Simpson can be the middle of this defense for a long, long time. And I think that's one of their bigger needs. Because you got Pearman on a short-term deal, Littleton on a short-term deal. And San Francisco's defenses with D'Amico Ryans were always predicated on being really, really good at linebacker. And I'm seeing what could be I'm not going to say a wish version of that because I think it's better than that.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be a San Francisco light going into next year with these three guys. And now I've got the back seven fixed. Next year, I mean, let's be really honest, you're going to have some bumps in the road with Bryce Young as your quarterback. Rookie year. Not a great set of receivers. There's going to be some bumps in the road.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can say my back seven is completely done, I am good with what I have there. Is there not a merit to that?
Sure.
And I'll deal with the pass rush next year?
Absolutely. You can't build everything.
No,
Rome
you
wasn't
can't
built
fix
in a day. They say that for a reason.
Look, there were two teams coming to this offseason that I looked at and said, you have more problems than you could possibly have draft picks that can fix them in 1 year. Chicago Bears, Houston Texans. Well, Chicago had $1 bajillion to spend in free agency. So they threw some, I'll be nice and say Band-Aids on it. The talent got better. And now they can just take long-term building blocks. Why can Houston not do the exact same thing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be good this year. There's no path this team wins more than 6 or 7 games next year, and I think even then I'm being nice. And so I go in with the intention I'm getting my quarterback at 2. I'm going to get him a weapon at 12 to give him another legitimate A weapon, which I think Quentin Johnston can be. And then I'm going to go get that signal caller and A+. Everything I do from there, best player available.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can find some linemen, great. I'm going to tell you, this is not the greatest lineman draft that you've ever seen outside of the first 33 picks.
Defensive tackles, maybe add to the interior of that defensive line.
See, and that's where I'm at is, all right, so you signed Sheldon Rankins. I'm going to take a developmental tackle that can learn from a guy that's been in the league for a long time. Because I can tell you he was great with that last year with the Jets. Everything I've heard is he was great to be in the room. So if you're going to do this, which I've just railed on Houston for doing for years, of you bring in the veteran that will accept your money. All right, you've done that again. But these are at least veterans in large part that either know the system, really fit into the system, and the reputation of a lot of them is that they're really good in the room. So bring in the young guys, take some shots. If you do the first 3 things I said, you've had an A+ draft. Is it necessarily going to work? No. A+ drafts lead to busts all the time. But I feel like you've done the best thing for your franchise. And then you go down the rabbit hole as you continue picking in later rounds because they have 9 more picks past that.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 3 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th. So you can take a lot of flyers here. And this is a deep draft. It just doesn't have the high-end, marquee players.
Right.
You got 6 picks in the top 104.
I mean, I could see them, loading up on weapons as well. With those 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, trying to find some diamonds in the rough.
See, with those, I'm going to take shots on the line.
Sure.
I'm going to take shots on the offensive line, the defensive line. Receiver, it gets thin. I took Quentin Johnston. I probably wouldn't take another one the entire draft.
Really?
Because I don't see a lot of guys that I see high-end potential on the backside.
Not even like kick returners or anything like that?
I need players that in those first 2 days, I need players that are going to play right now. So for me, I'm going quarterback, wide receiver, linebacker. Then I'll take a shot on an edge because there are some guys that maybe they need to be developed. Like I got Jerry Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got Jerry Hughes on this roster right now. I'm not necessarily going to put the full onus of being the star pass rusher on you, but if I hit one, then my A+ became an A++. And that's how I'm going to do that. Other needs I think they have, I just want to add to the lines. That's once I get the things I've already outlined, I want to take as many dart throws at the offensive defensive line as I can and try to build this team in the model of the San Francisco 49ers, because you hit a home run with the coach. Now you just need more talent.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. We're going to be doing each and every team draft needs throughout the coming programs here on ESPN Asheville. In the 4 o'clock hour, we'll be doing the Seattle Seahawks and then the Detroit Lions. Those are the 3 teams, including the Texans, that have the most draft capital in this draft class. Then tomorrow, we'll come back and do the reverse of that, do the 3 with the least amount of capital, and then we'll keep switching back and forth, going top to bottom, until we meet in the middle before the NFL draft. This is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville.
It's time to discover the convenience and time savings of contact-free pickup with Ingles Curbside. Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup. They'll even text you with updates. You pull up to a designated space and your personal shopper delivers your items right to your vehicle. Fresh, fast, and affordable. It's all in the bag. Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Ew. Gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, no matter how many times I've washed it.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried new Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in 1 wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products. Save on Downy Rinse and Refresh at Target.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We can get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we can take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
Coffee still closes on me.
Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
2-2-1 on Monday. Thank God for an over-under, because I couldn't have been more wrong about those games yesterday if I tried. But at least I knew how many points they were going to score. Tonight is brutal in the NBA, but we have deep dived to find a couple games to make it a money-making night. As always, don't watch, but wager. This is Greene on Greene, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. I don't mind taking big numbers with the Orlando Magic +7 against the Ja Morantless Grizzlies, or the Hornets +10.5 against the Thunder, but there's too much in the air for me to give either of those as picks. Keep an eye on the injury wire to see if you can leverage a big number with players that play when we didn't expect them to. On to the picks. The Toronto Raptors are a 3.5-point favorite tonight against the Miami Heat, over under 219.5. The Miami Heat are the crazy girlfriend of the NBA. Every time you think you have them figured out, they set your gambling house on fire. Case in point, in their last two, they beat a very good New York Knicks team by 7. Then, 3 nights later, they get absolutely annihilated by the Brooklyn Nets. Both were at home, no big lineup changes, 2 completely different teams. Tonight, they take on another infuriating team in the Raptors in Toronto. To put it delicately, Miami has been absolutely awful against the Raptors over the last couple years. 1-5 against the spread, 2-4 straight up in their last 6. Toronto is pretty league average, hovering right around 500 on the season against the spread. But Miami has been a gambler's best friend over the last month, 6-12 against the spread, and I look for that to continue tonight. Miami is not nearly as good on the road, and Toronto's tough at home. I'm looking for a bit of a gross fest, and both of these teams have been nice to under-bettors. Give me the Raptors. I'll take the 3.5, but I'm tempted to go straight money line with an outright win. I'll also go aggressive on the under. Finally, the Boston Celtics are an 11.5-point favorite tonight at the Washington Wizards, over under 223. The Celtics travel to the hapless Washington Wizards tonight without Bradley Beal, and this roster is nothing short of G League heading into this matchup with the 2 seed in the East. Look, Boston's 2 games behind the Bucks with 7 to play. One of them is against Milwaukee. Boston is not going to mess around tonight with a team that's starting Monty Morris and something called a Daniel Gafford that apparently rebounds really well, and other than that is stiff as a 2x4. This is one of those games where I'm going to double down on a game that I see as an absolute bloodletting. The Celtics will never allow it to be close and will probably play bench guys throughout the entire fourth. The late backdoor cover scares me a bit, but I'll take the Celtics. I'll lay the 11.5, and I'm going aggressive on the under. For more, follow us on all the social medias at The Sportsocracy. And as always, Greene on Greene is brought to you by Ingles Markets. Love the savings with Ingles. Love the winnings with me. Mull it out.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder side of late March with some near freezing numbers in the valley tonight and tomorrow night, and below average temps here for midweek. We're talking 35 degrees tonight with some sprinkles out there. Sunshine Wednesday, low humidity, high 60, low 32. Sunshine Thursday, high 65. And then some 70s come back in for the weekend ahead, along with rain returning Friday night and Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print and Marketing Services help small business print big. Now get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Offer ends 4/15. Visit staples.com/printbig for details. This is your sign to try Staples, where prints are perfect, guaranteed.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, no matter how many times I've washed it.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried new Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in 1 wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products. Save on Downy Rinse and Refresh at Target.
Spring in the South means the return of Atlanta Braves baseball.
There's a liner out towards center field. It will lay down. Here comes Ronald. Braves win
the 2023 Braves load up for another huge season.
The Braves play here on ESPN Asheville.
When emergencies strike, firefighters are there to stand strong and answer the call. Start or continue a high-octane and rewarding career with the Hendersonville Fire Department. HFD offers competitive pay, fantastic benefits, and the foundation for a meaningful work-life balance. If you value integrity, service to your community, and working with a professional team, apply today. Now hiring full-time and part-time Hendersonville firefighter EMT positions. Unlock your best life at www.hvlnc.gov/jobs. Live here, serve here.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking NBA news, Sun star Kevin Durant will return from an ankle injury tomorrow against the Timberwolves. The attention for Packers coach Matt LaFleur is now on quarterback Jordan Love as the team looks to complete that trade to send Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. Green Bay GM Brian Gutekunst has repeatedly said this offseason that Love is absolutely ready to be the starter. That may be, but after all those years of an all-time great, tone down the expectations for Love, reminds LaFleur.
I just think it's going to be a progression. I mean, certainly I think we're fooling ourselves if we think he's going to go out there and perform at a level of to the likes of what Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this guy is a once-in-a-lifetime, a generational talent. And I don't think it necessarily started that way when he first started, but he progressed into that.
Two fully financed bids for the Washington Commanders have been submitted, one by the Josh Harris Group, which now includes Magic Johnson, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the other by Canadian billionaire Steve Apostolopoulos, according to Schefter and ESPN's Brian Windhorst. Both meet owner Dan Snyder's $6 billion asking price.
A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
It is the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400 second hour of the program, heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. You can see us live in the Ingles Studio on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel, so you can join us in the chat, get your thoughts in on the topics of the day, whether it be biggest draft needs for certain NFL teams, or Aaron Rodgers, or Washington Commanders, whatever is on the table in the chat. And, of course, we could talk Draftmas season stuff.
Oh, Draftmas tree, oh, Draftmas tree.
The 2023 NFL Draft is coming up very shortly.
How lovely are thy tight ends.
And today it's top 13 tight ends, as dubbed by at ESPN Draft Nerd, Jeremy Greene.
This is my favorite position in this draft, and I'm not sure it's all that close.
Do you like it just because it has elite type players at the top of the tight end class, or is it the overall depth of the class?
The depth is fantastic. This is like TCBY. We got 31 flavors, baby. Anything you possibly could ever want.
That was Baskin Robbins, but okay. Keep
going.
What?
I don't like ice cream, okay? I tried to do a pop culture, and I boo-boo kitty to do shot.
TCBY, that was frozen yogurt. That was gross stuff.
Yeah, you stop that. TCBY was awesome. That was actually the only ice cream I've ever really liked. But you know who I really do like?
What's wrong with you?
My number one tight end in this class, and it's not really all that close. It's Michael Mayer.
Mm-hmm. If he's not your number one.
If he's not your number one, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
I mean, what more could you possibly want than a 6'4", 249-pound tight end? Are his hands a little teeny? Maybe. Is he the fastest guy you've ever seen? No. 4'7". He's the best blocking tight end in this class, and it's not all that close.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will be the best receiving tight end in this class. Dalton Kincaid is kind of close to him in that. Look, if you've watched Notre Dame over the course of the last handful of years, you've watched this and gone, man, that 87 kid's real good. I don't care what system you run. I don't care what you ask tight ends to do. He can do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a matchup nightmare if you put a slot corner on him because he's so big and he's so physical. And yet again, I say he's one of the only tight ends in this class that can block. And look, I know we're getting away from that. You're seeing more of the Darren Wallers who couldn't block me, Mark Andrews who's not a great blocker, but you still come to a point where they call this kid Baby Gronk for a reason, and it's because I think he can be that good.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a top 10 player in this class for me since it started, and I'm not off of that. I think he is that good. I look at him potentially with the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that's his floor. I don't think he's going to make it that far. I know they just signed Irv Smith, who I love, and he gets a second lease on life. And, yeah, I think he's going to be pretty good. Got away from Kirk Cousins and went to Joe Burrow. It seems like a pretty good way of prolonging your career.
Right.
But, I could see Mayer going as high as 15 to the Packers. I think they have another guy in mind that fits more of exactly what they do. But he could go that high. Other potential fits, the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants. The thought of him and Darren Waller on the same field it kind of gives me those warm tinglies that I just really want it to happen, even though I don't think it will.
Right. Michael Mayer's he's not a developmental talent.
No, he comes in immediately.
Right. Immediately comes in as one of the best tight ends in the league.
And I'll tell you this: if Michael Mayer had come into the NFL in 2003 instead of 2023, he'd have been top 5 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, the only thing you really ding him on is he's not exactly the fleet of foot tight end that you want him to be. He's not running a 4.4 like Kyle Pitts. No, he's not that guy. Kyle Pitts also couldn't block my wife. So it kind of give and take. I love this kid. And somebody is going to get an absolute steal with him somewhere in the middle to late part of the first round.
Mm-hmm. I think the ceiling I've seen for him is like 13, and the floor is.
Well, he ain't going to 13 because that's owned by the Jets, and it's not going to the Green Bay Packers. That's a little precursor to something I'm going to say a whole mess of times later.
Michael Mayer, the number 1 tight end in this class. And then is there much of a gap between him and number 2?
Depends on what you're looking for. For me, there is a gap, but it's because I do like a tight end that can at least – I'm not going to say scare you as a blocker, but he is a conscious blocker. My number 2 is Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. And now this kid is more the height, weight, speed. The ironic thing is I don't think he's any faster than Michael Mayer, but he didn't run. So there's no way for us to know that.
Mm-hmm.
He is more of he's a phenomenal receiver. He kind of reminds me of Dalton Schultz, if I was going to be honest. That's why I keep giving him to the Dallas Cowboys, because this is a 4 years of team control with a 5th-year option version of exactly what you just lost. Now, in terms of blocker, not going to in any way really, not going to scare you doing that. He's got that basketball-type player build. He's 6'4", 6'3", I think he came in at the combine, 245. He's just a really good move piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I played a good number of snaps in college. There's not much for me to ding him on, except he is not that prolific blocker. He's the best route runner in this class at tight end.
And I think a lot of that has to do with, size and girth. And
He's
your
not
athletic
huge.
ability. Right. I mean,
this is a kid that's going to come into the league and play in the slot probably 40% of his snaps.
Right.
He'll line up in line from time to time. But if teams see that, they're going to go, well, that means we've got an uncovered tackle right here because he's not even going to feign like he's blocking us. So there's a catch-22 to that. Think of Darren Waller with the Las Vegas Raiders for last few years. He lined up in the slot all the time. Kincaid's not nearly as big and he's not nearly as fast. Way better route runner. I mean, those two aren't even in the same class as route runners to me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for the traditional tight end, you better find a way to get Michael Mayer.
So you had him going in the 3-round mock draft to the Dallas Cowboys.
I can't get away from it.
Is that an automatic come in, start day one,
Yes.
be a star?
Yes. In that offense, to me, One of the things I do in mock drafts is who can I put in that completes everything? Because Dalton Kincaid's one of those players that's going to make every player on the team better. Because if you leave that middle open, think of and I hate this comparison because I don't see them the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Think of Travis Kelce. All right, you had Tyreek Hill that would beat you over the top. Brandon Cooks. You had the receiver that would just, whether it was Demarcus Robinson, whoever it was, that could make they were fast, but they could make a physical catch. And then the middle was just wide open because you only have so many players to put so many places. And so I look at Dalton Kincaid with the Dallas Cowboys, and I think that is an immediate, we'll say a pain. That would be a pain for defenses to try to defend.
All right, the third best tight end in this 2023 NFL draft class is?
This has changed for me in the last probably 2 weeks. Sam Laporta out of Iowa.
And what made you change? Because you're often one that says you shouldn't change your mind after no football's been played.
And I don't disagree with it. I think I had kind of shoehorned Sam Laporta into, he's just a stereotypical Iowa tight end that can do a little bit of everything. He's not as good a blocker as I'm used to from Iowa tight ends. I actually think he's better than many others do. And then he went out and ran a 4.59, and I went, well, that changes things just a bit because now the fact that you're so small doesn't bother me as much. My biggest knock on him was always his hands. I don't think he's more of a body catcher than I want him to be. But then again, I go back to Iowa and go, well, you couldn't have scored if you partied at a frat house and you brought the beer. So I'm not necessarily going to hold that against you because he was the only player on the team at times that legitimately scared me. So I think he comes into a spot. I like him with Cincinnati is a fit for him. That's who I had him going to in the last mock draft.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina is one I like with him. And I think his drop-dead spot is probably the Miami Dolphins. Miami doesn't have a pick until the middle of the second round, and I can't for the life of me figure out how it's not going to be a tight end. Because now that you've given up Hunter Long, Mike Gesicki's walked away, I think you're a bad draft away from calling me and asking, you still got them mitts? Can you just talk about tight ends or maybe get a little lather out here, big boy? But that's not the one I had going to them. I think he'll be going before that.
All right. Number 4.
This is the one I had at 4 for the longest time. And nothing has specifically changed except I'm more closely examining that, man, there's a lot of projection with you. It's Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State. He played the snaps, but he just didn't produce. And so I look at him and go, you look like a tight end. I think he runs about a 4.6. I mean, he's been hurt, so he hasn't been able to do any of this in the process.
Mm-hmm.
He's 6'5", 250. I like all of that, but he's got a little Sasquatch to him, and you're going to see that that's a common theme between my 4 and my 5, of, yeah, you look like Tarzan. You play like Jane sometimes, and the production wasn't necessarily there. Is that because of the quarterback play? Is it because of the system you played in? All of those could be true. There are plenty of players that are not super productive in college that come in and they meet their athletic potential in the NFL. That's what I feel like a lot of us think Luke Musgrave's going to be. It's just the more you examine him, the more you go, but why did I never see it? Ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were flashes, and then it would immediately go away. And so I'm taking the freak, going in the right system. He can be a dog in the right system. But if the wrong team drafts him, he could be one of those we look back on 2 or 3 years from now and go, what in the world did you see in him?
Why did you waste a 3rd-round pick on him?
And I would say he's got the highest bust rate of any of the tight ends in this class. And I would say 5 is the only one that's even vaguely close to him.
Okay. And at number 5?
It's Darnell Washington out of Georgia. You're a Georgia fan. How many times did you look at Darnell Washington and go, he's the best player on this field?
Never.
It never
Not
happened,
once.
not one time.
Not once did you ever look, because they had Brock Bowers. Now, had there been no Brock Bowers, then you would have went, okay, he's the best tight end in the SEC. He probably would have been used more. I think you would have.
But would you have?
Yeah, because, look, there's no disputing the size and the athleticism that he has and the ferocity that he comes blocking with. I mean, this guy is a perfect old school tight end, and maybe that's the problem.
He is. I mean, he's very large. He's 6'7", 264.
Mm-hmm. And will tear your head off.
And he's reasonably quick. Good blocker. There's just really not a ton of production.
Mm-mm.
And so that's why it's hard for me to differentiate the two. He's a better blocker. I don't think he's nearly as good of a receiver. And I call him the trash man. Because virtually every catch he ever had, there was somebody draped on him like a cheap suit.
Yep.
He never separated from anyone, but everybody tells me how fast he is. I don't – he's one of those I watch the tape and I just don't get it. Like, if you're that big, that fast, that physical, why did I never see you do that? And I get you had the best tight end prospect ever. Wait till I get to talk about Brock Bowers for 3 months next year. That'll be fun. There's a possibility I'll take him at 3 next year.
Yeah.
He's that good.
Yeah, he is.
But I'm just – there are things about Darnell Washington that don't add up to me. And it also might be the fact that I can't physically see a way that he doesn't end up as a Green Bay Packer. Because he reminds me of Mercedes Lewis so much that it's gross.
Mm-hmm.
And you know I hate player comps. I detest them. Because they're almost always lazy, and it's either, well, this guy played at the same school, and they're the same size. And the game is nothing alike.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those where that's not the case.
Right.
The games are very similar. The production in college is very similar. And I could easily see a path that the production in the NFL is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Mercedes Lewis had more than 2 or 3 years where he had more than 26 catches. He was also the big tight end you could put in and go, hey, we're at the 3-yard line, and you're about to just ruin somebody's day.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna throw it at the crossbar, and you go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And Darnell can do that.
Or I'm going to run it right behind your tail feathers, and you're going to eviscerate someone's soul.
Right.
Because he can do that.
Look,
I've seen him do that.
Right. I mean, the Georgia offense was good this year, but you get inside 5 yards. I mean, you might as well just chalk it up. They're gonna score because of Darnell Washington. It didn't matter who scored the touchdown, whether it was whether it was any of the running backs or whether it was Stetson running it in. Usually, the big key block came on the edge from Darnell.
And that's the thing I know he can do. For me, that's what gives him the safer floor. He does not have a ceiling like Luke Musgrave. Just doesn't. Let me ask you a question, and we got to take a break after this.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Georgia fan.
Yep.
3 years. How many touchdowns did Darnell Washington score?
2?
3.
3.
How many catches did he have in 3 years?
17.
45. You were so bad at that game. I don't even know why I tried doing it.
He wasn't used a lot.
No, he
That's
wasn't.
the point.
But he does have the potential, and so that's why he slots in for me at number 5.
All right, Darnell Washington rounds out the top 5 of Jeremy Greene's top 13 tight ends in the 2023 NFL draft class. We'll
and after this, it's a rapid fire round, 1 minute on the next 8.
Time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923, exit 3. 26 westbound is slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slow between Long Shoals Road and approaching Airport Road. 40 westbound crawling between Georges Branch Road and Newfound Road. 40 westbound again slow between NC 209 and US 276. Near Inkle Village, Sardis Road, moving from Sandhill Road to Brevard Road, traffic very busy. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road northbound, approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The double steak grilled cheese burrito is now at Taco Bell. 2 servings of grilled marinated steak and a melty 3-cheese layer inside, plus grilled bubbly cheese on the outside. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
Of course, your favorite station is on the free iHeartRadio app. Take us with you anywhere and listen anytime. Plus, get thousands of other stations and playlists all free. Download our free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
Progressive protects more than just your home and car. You could save when you bundle your motorcycles, ATVs, boats, and RVs. Doesn't that sound good? Like the sound of your boat cruising along the Intercoastal. And there's the sound of the prop hitting a really big rock. And now the sound of waves, because the engine stopped. But you know what does sound good? You're covered with Progressive. So bundle all your vehicles and home in one place and save with the multi-policy discount. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, no matter how many times I've washed it.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried new Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products. Save on Downy Rinse and Refresh at Target.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man!
It is the midst of the draftmas season, and we continue with top 13s. It's top 13 tight ends from Tight End Whisperer, Jeremy Greene.
This is also just flat out a great year for tight ends.
At ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter, he's got Michael Mayer as the number 1 tight end of the class, Dalton Kincaid, number 2, Sam Laporta out of Iowa, Luke Musgrave, he's a Beaver, he's good, at number 4, and at number 5, Darnell Washington, the Sasquatch from Georgia, because I was told all this time, he's the greatest tight end ever. I don't see it. I get the physical tools that he has, but he doesn't get much playing time on his own team.
It's grainy footage that elicits Robbie Anderson to go, hey, what's that bear doing?
Right. And if I had a dime for every pass that was thrown his way that somehow he just couldn't corral it, as you said, because he can't get separation from anybody. I mean, he could have had 15 touchdowns for the Georgia Bulldogs in the last 2 years, but it never came to fruition.
And now we're on to the rapid-fire round of the top 13.
All right, number 6.
Tucker Kraft out of San Diego State. If you told me there was a player in this draft that wound up just grossly overproducing his draft slot, it's Tucker Kraft. Because in terms of raw talent, he should probably be 3. But he played at such a lower level. His route tree is not really defined. He really rounds off routes. But no, if it's just, hey, can you get open and can you do crazy things with a football in your hand? Yeah, he checks that box. And I think he can actually be a better blocker in the NFL than I have seen from him so far, because they really didn't ask him to do that. And so I have him going to the Miami Dolphins in the middle of the 2nd round, and that has quickly become one of my favorite pairings of team and player.
All right, the Jackrabbit from South Dakota State, Tucker Kraft.
He's a Jackrabbit.
At number 6, I think you said San Diego State. So I just
I'm
wanted to
very well
clarify
minded.
that.
South Dakota State.
SDSU always throws me off too. So
Well, it usually doesn't me, but I think I've seen SDSU so many times that now it's planted in my head.
And now they're in the Final Four, so they're in the top of the mind. Number 7.
I have this guy higher than anybody else in the industry, and it's not close. Will Mallory out of Miami. I've loved him for as long as I can remember. You remember You remember when I said that thing about all the USC receivers for like 4 years in a row of you're so poorly coached? There's been so much inconsistency with how you were coached and what you were asked to do that you're going to go to the NFL to a smart team. San Diego Chargers. Yeah, I called them San Diego. That time I actually did it on purpose. San EST, sorry. You're going to go to one of those teams that is going to know how to use you. And years from now, we're going to look back and go, how on earth did we miss this so bad? I mean, this kid ran a 4.54 at 6'4", 240 pounds. And you're telling me he couldn't find a way to catch a ball in Miami. There were times that I completely forgot he was on the team. And I think that goes to bad quarterback play. I think it goes to bad coaching. For me, there are 7 really good tight ends in this class. And now is where we get to the precipitous drop-off.
At number 8.
Payne Durham, Purdue. I liked a lot of what he did in the All-Star game season, and I've seen some good. And then I go back to the tape and go, man, I didn't see this nearly enough out of you. He's really slow. That's what's going to kill him is that he ran a 4.87. Yeah, he's 6'5", 250. But to me, he's a mid-round guy, developmental. There's enough talent there that he definitely justifies a draft pick. I don't see the ceiling out of him that I see out of every other tight end I've already talked about.
At number 9.
Luke Schoonemaker out of Michigan. He's really big and athletic, and he disappears for extended periods of time as well. And he's just he's that jack of all trades, master of none. You do a lot of things well. I don't know that you have a go-to because you're fast, but I'm not sure that you're not track fast because I never thought he was 4.63 fast. I never saw that. He is not a take the top off, scare defenses, but he is big. I mean, 6'5", 250, and if you can run that fast in a straight line, there's certainly a role for you in the NFL. I'm just not 100% sure what it is, and you're going to have to be patient. I know you'll remember this name, and he just was brought back to the forefront because he was traded for Jalen Ramsey. He reminds me of the Wish version of Hunter Long. He doesn't do anything as well as Hunter Long did. But he's close. He's about the same size, about the same athletic ability. If you're willing to be patient, I think he could really reward you. But patience is not something we see a ton of in the NFL.
Number 10.
If it was just, hey, who's the best at track stuff? This got to be number 1 because he's a perfect 10 on the RAS scale. Zach Kuntz, Old Dominion. If we're just looking at raw ability, he is not of this world. 6'7", 255, ran a 4.55.
Shoot.
Here's what scares me, and here's why I've actually pushed him down the board, even with him doing that. He's going to be overdrafted. You mark my words. You mark my words, he will be overdrafted because he didn't do anything in college that makes me think he's this guy. Low level of competition. He's really good with the ball in his hand. The problem is that I've never seen him do it against any kind of a high-level defense. His best tape is against nobody. Another one that I think if you're really patient with him, he could pay off in time. I've heard he could go as high as the second round, which absolutely petrifies me because he's not that prospect. He's that athlete. He's not that prospect.
Not much of a blocker.
No. I mean, he's not a terrible blocker, but you also got to realize he's playing at Old Dominion. So, I mean, there's times he's blocking defensive ends that are 225 pounds. So, I haven't seen you do anything in that vein that translates to the NFL.
Number 11.
This is, a lot of people really like him, and I think he's athletic, and I think he's fine. I just think he's a dude. It's Josh Wiley, tight end out of Cincinnati. I don't really have anything that he does specifically well. He does a lot of the track things well. In terms of being quick at his size, he can do that. I don't think he has very good hands. I think he really benefited from playing on teams that were just exponentially more talented than everybody he came across. And he also learned this. I don't even really know how to describe this. He is the best I've ever seen at I'm going to slow play a route and make you think I don't blocking maybe. And then I just take off and hit a second gear against linebackers that they can't do anything with. The problem is that's about all he does at an NFL level. If you're patient, maybe you get something out of him down the line.
Number 12.
12 and 13 have a lot in common because they were highly recruited, and then you just didn't really see much out of them. 12 is Jaleel Billingsley out of Texas. I have waited for what feels like forever between Alabama and Texas for him to become the guy that was recruited, and he never has. I struggle to believe that Nick Saban and Steve Sarkisian, I was seeing his face, and I could not get his name out of my mouth. Couldn't get the most out of him, and it just never happened. He's got a little bit of a Sasquatch to him, too. I don't doubt that he's talented. I just have never seen it. From production and RAS score and all those things, he probably shouldn't be in the top 13. But I do know there's talent there, and if a team can mine it, then good for you. If you can't, then you completely wasted a draft pick.
All right, and finally, number 13.
Cameron Latu out of Alabama. If athleticism is what you're looking for, this ain't your dude, because he's kind of tall, real thin, and slow as dirt.
But what does he offer?
He's got real good hands. In the lesser number of opportunities that I've seen with him, he can just go get a ball that a lot of people don't. His hands are ridiculous. The problem is that zone coverage completely annihilates him. The only way he ever got open was that you would put a linebacker or a corner on him. He would physically manhandle corners, and he was just stronger than linebackers. So, I mean, all right, so I'll give you an example. If he played against one of these Robert Saleh, DeMeco Ryan, San Francisco 49ers disciple teams, you'd have to make him inactive because that's how bad he was against zone. He cannot find a soft spot.
Okay.
So, super raw. But yet again, he's got ferocious hands that I really can't teach, and that's how he winds up on the top 13.
All right, top 13 tight ends for the 2023 NFL draft class, as chosen by @ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Greene. We will move on to what are we moving on to tomorrow?
Oh, let's see. Tomorrow will be edge rushers.
Edge rushers.
Yeah, we'll save the hog mollies for the same day.
All right, edge rushers. We'll come up tomorrow. We'll do another top 13. And, of course, stay tuned for the top of the hour or after the top of the hour as we'll have the daily draft where Jeremy and I will be drafting the our top 5 prospects at tight end over the last 6 draft classes. Coming up after the break, it'll be time to get weird. Plus, we'll look at another team with a lot of draft capital this year and what they need in this draft. We'll talk about the Sea Chickens after this.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder side of late March with some near freezing numbers in the valley tonight and tomorrow night, and below average temps here for midweek. I'm talking 35 degrees tonight with some sprinkles out there. Sunshine Wednesday, low humidity, high 60, low 32. Sunshine Thursday, high 65. And then some 70s come back in for the weekend ahead, along with rain returning Friday night and Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving it slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923, exit 3. 26 westbound slow between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound delays between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Long Shoals Road. 40 westbound crawling between the 26-240 split, Malfunction Junction, and Newfound Road. Again, 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. Sweeten Creek Road southbound, delays between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. Hendersonville Road southbound, slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Overlook Road. Near Etowah, US 64 Brevard Road near South Rugby Road, an incident reported causing congestion. I'm Lyndon Field with your time.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with savings on select PCs powered by the latest 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Plus, get deals on select accessories and free shipping on everything. Save now by calling 877-ASK-DELL.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest-rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
At Staples, school is always in session, and savings never take a holiday, especially now during Staples Teacher Palooza. You save big on everything for school, like 20% on all Crayola products, up to 40% on brands like Post-it, Papermate, and Elmer's. Plus, 24-pack cases of True Clear bottled water are only $3.99. During Staples Teacher Palooza, teachers save big and so do you, with classroom deals for everybody. But deals end soon, so hurry to Staples today. Offers end 4/1, in-store only, limit 1 on water while supplies last.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other grocery store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA Choice and Prime meat? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
It is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Time to get weird, and I think part of this has got to be there's got to be a crime in this somewhere. It comes to us from one of Jeremy's favorite places on the planet. It's West Virginia.
Yeah, let's go.
Cable County, West Virginia.
Are we sure this isn't supposed to be in crimes?
You
said that with a look on your face.
I don't know that there's crimes here, but as I said, I think it should be crimes. As a school bus driver taking kids home from school, mid-route, apparently decides, screw it. I don't like this job, don't want this job, don't need this job. I'm not sure exactly, what went through the person's mind to go, you know what, I need all these kids off this bus right now. Look, if I was a school bus driver, I'm sure I would have those moments.
No doubt.
I know my school bus driver did when I was a kid. But to actually follow through with, all right, the kids, they want to kick all, or the bus driver wanted to kick all of the kids off of the of the bus mid-route, stopped near the McDonald's, and just let everybody out. And then took the bus back to the school and went home. Deuces.
Bye.
I'm done.
Bye.
Driver is accused of allegedly kicking students off the bus mid-route and driving off. At the time of the incident, residents said that a fifth grader on the bus gathered all of the other kids and walked them to the nearby McDonald's. Shortly after the incident, which happened during severe flooding in mid-February, the Cable County School District opened up an investigation. The school board released a statement saying that, well, obviously we don't agree, and we have a new bus driver. Losing your job, obviously that had to happen.
No doubt.
I still believe there's got to be some kind of crime in that.
Oh, absolutely. Child endangerment.
Right, child endangerment, child abandonment. I don't. You are in charge of making sure these kids get to where they're supposed to be, and you just dropped them off at the McDonald's. Went, see you. Best of luck to you. Gone.
Yeah, I'm not a cop and I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like that is not legal. Speaking of not legal, maybe you remember a story that we told around NFL playoff time about a man named Xavier Babadar. He is also known as the Chiefsaholic. This is the guy that dresses up like a wolf for Chiefs games.
Okay.
And then, on his way to a Chiefs playoff game, decided to do crimes and robbed a bank.
That's right.
And he was located because a series of Chiefs fans went, I know that costume. That is Chiefsaholic. So, obviously not a rocket surgeon, if we were being nice about this. Well, earlier this week, Mr. Babadar was set to make a court appearance in Bixby, Oklahoma. And he didn't show up, which is strange because he was on an ankle bracelet. So they pinged the bracelet to see where he was, and it showed that he was in the woods. So they went to the location of where it pinged, and they found the ankle monitor.
Okay.
But they didn't find the Chiefsaholic because he had abandoned it in the woods and is now on the run.
Oh, no.
He will now be held on $1 million bail if he is found, but they don't know where he is.
So that's the great thing about being a one-man wolf pack.
So, for best friends that anyone could have. So now they're calling on the public to find this man. The only problem with that is that virtually every picture of him, he has that stupid wolf mask on. There are a couple that will show you what his face looks like. But so long as he keeps that mask off, it's going to be kind of hard to find him. Because you really have a limited amount of pictures of him with that thing not on.
Right.
At least with what they're putting out right now. That, or they think he is going to be stupid enough to put that costume on and commit more crimes.
Which he did it once, so why wouldn't he do it again?
And you know what? Stupid criminals will keep this segment happening until both of us are probably long dead.
Right. The NFL draft is shortly around the corner. Seattle Seahawks have the second most draft capital in this draft. 10 picks total. They got 2 in the first, 2 in the second. They also have 2 in the fifth, if that matters to you, which I know it does to Jeremy Greene because all draft picks matter to him.
All draft picks are good draft picks.
So what do the Seattle Seahawks need to improve on their team?
For me, it all starts with the defensive line. I mean, that's I feel like you need – yes, I think you hit on Nwosu last year. I don't love any – like Darrell Taylor doesn't do a ton for me. And look, I know Seahawk fans, a lot of them are like, well, we got to get the defensive tackle. There are a good number of defensive tackles in this draft. I'm personally not going to take the risk on Jalen Carter at 5. I'm not. Especially because I think Will Anderson's going to be sitting there because I firmly believe the top 4 picks in this draft are going to be quarterbacks. Now, how that's going to happen? That could happen a lot of different ways. So for me, the ideal scenario is that I sit at 5, I take Will Anderson. Now I have Nwosu and Anderson on each side, and I've got Jamal Adams coming out of the secondary. So I'm going to be able to rush quarterbacks.
And can I capitalize at the back end of the first round or in the top of the second round? Because somebody's taking Jalen Carter.
Oh, no doubt.
So, I mean, if we took him and, or if we didn't take him, obviously defensive tackle gets pushed down.
Well, he's not getting past 8.
No. But what I'm saying is the class itself gets pushed down the more and more because Jalen Carter's going to be the first one.
That has no effect on the rest of it. I mean, he's not pushing down Brian Breeze. I mean, a team's not – he's not going to fall that far. He's 8 with the Falcons is his drop dead. So there's not like New Orleans at 29 is not sitting there going, well, we might get one fall in our lap because they didn't take Jalen Carter. That's not how that's going to work. It actually makes it more likely that one of them gets overdrafted. There was a point where I thought Kalijah Kancey might actually be drafted higher than Jalen Carter. But now we've almost got to the point where it's not that the issues have been resolved. It's been legislated. I don't think it's going to get worse than where we're already at. I mean, I've heard this compared to Warren Sapp, which is ironic because these two went to the same high school, and how he fell because things came out leading up to the draft that he had a marijuana problem, which, it's ironic now that I just said that out loud. Could you ever imagine a player falling in the NFL draft today because they have a marijuana problem? Like Laramie Tunsil, he fell a few spots because there was a gas mask video. The video is why he fell, not the recreationals. Sorry, that's one of my saddest days as a Jets fan. We'll take Kyle Brady. Ugh, I can't say that. Ugh, oh God, it still makes me mad. It's been 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest question is what happens if Will Anderson, like Arizona gets stuck at 3 and they have to take a guy and they take Will Anderson. I tend to believe that if that scenario played out, they would have a really realistic conversation between Tyree Wilson and Jalen Carter, and I think they would land on Tyree Wilson. It's possible I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They might say, you know what, our culture's good enough, we can withstand it and go that route.
Maybe so. Also, maybe Pete Carroll looks at it and goes, "You know what? I'm too old to deal with this. I don't want to deal. I don't want to deal with the headache that would come in from. I mean, because after all, you're spending top 5 draft capital on this guy.
That's what a lot of people don't seem to understand is that missing on top five guys like that is LMNO fired, especially if we all know it, and then something happens and it falls back on you of, well, you should have known that because all the rest of us did.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they would fall back to Tyree Wilson, but it's possible it would also be Jalen Carter. There is going to be a lineman, a defensive lineman taken at 5 by the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes.
I saw Mike Tannenbaum put out a mock that they had them taking Hendon Hooker at 5, and I almost peed on myself.
Holy
I laughed so hard.
smokes.
If a team takes Hendon Hooker in the first round, not even at 5, I'm not even going kooky madookie like he did. If a team takes Hendon Hooker in the first round, I will literally urinate on myself on camera laughing at them. Oh, and by the way, that's not happening under any circumstances. So every time you hear that, just remember, it's lying season.
So it's a defensive lineman of some kind, whether it be the edge rusher or Jalen Carter or, edge rusher or Jalen Carter.
Yes.
So at number 20.
That's where it gets – 20 is where it gets more interesting because if they take Will Anderson at 5, I'm now good at edge rusher. There are several defensive tackles that they're not good enough for me to take at 20, but they're good enough – they can be players in the league. I just can't take them that high. So I think their pick at 20 with Will Anderson would fall into 2 guys. Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I think will be on the board there,
Mm-hmm.
which is who I took in my last mock draft, or Osiris Torrance, the guard from Florida. For me, there's not a loser in the bunch. I love JSN to the Seattle Seahawks because I think it's his best possible outcome because you're no doubt the 3. And then you can just use your skill. Now I'm going to prop up Geno Smith, and instead of being a heavy run team where we hit you with a dose of over the top because you load the box up and we got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, now I got 3 legitimate guys and Noah Fant that can hurt you. For me, neither one of those is there's not a miss in either one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you take Torrance at 20, then I think you would probably try to take a defensive tackle at 38 and try to get a receiver at 53. Conversely, if you take Jackson Smith and Jigba there, I think you'll try to get an interior lineman at 53, and you still try to get that defensive tackle at 38. And there's a slew of them, whether it's Brian Breeze, Kalijah Cansey, Keanu Benton. There are a lot of guys that you can get that are, yes, they're different grades, but they don't vary a ton. I'll be honest with you, I've gone down the rabbit hole every different way possible. I don't love how Seattle's draft classes look when they take Jalen Carter at 5. I think you're missing on the premier pass rusher. But I don't like Jalen Carter as much as I like Will Anderson.
Right.
The production, you had 6 sacks in your career. So it's hard for me to do that with a defensive tackle when I'm comparing you to Quinnen Williams and guys like that just had a much deeper. I mean, yes, the film is good, and I think it'll be very good in this league. But if you're telling me it's one against the other, it's not really all that close for me.
It's all hands down Will Anderson.
No doubt. For me.
Yep.
Other things that they need to address over the course of the weekend, I think you're going to want another corner. The fact that you brought back Bobby Wagner pushes linebacker down to a lesser need. I still think it's a need, but I'm not sure it's as pressing as it was. You want one for the long term because Bobby Wagner's got a year, maybe 2, before you start to see the decline. I mean, he can play for a while, but do you really think he's going to be in Seattle for the next 2 or 3 years? Because I don't.
Probably not.
I also think that's the funniest reunion I've ever seen. We hate each other. 1 year later, we love each other again.
All right, there it is. Seattle Seahawks needs for the 2023 NFL Draft. They got 10 picks in the draft.
There's also one other thing that I do want to address with Seattle.
Okay.
And it's just it is something that I am starting to realize that people are going full dum-dum on. There are, to me, 4 high-level quarterbacks in this class. Then there are 2 more that are good, not great. And they're both older. Not really, I'm not going to say developmental prospects, but I think in time they could both start. They're just both so old. It's Tanner McKee and Hendon Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled to believe that the Seattle Seahawks come out of this weekend without one of the 2.
And they'll have to spend a, what, 4?
I would say a 3 probably on Tanner McKee, probably that second 2 on Hendon Hooker. That's about where they fall in for me. There is a rumor that somebody at the end of the first round just loves Hendon Hooker. Lie. That's what a lie sounds like. Because if Baltimore doesn't make a move with Lamar Jackson, I struggle to see how you're going to get the 4 quarterbacks. I don't have good landing spots for the 4 quarterbacks. The 4 really good ones.
Yeah.
Then you give me 25-year-old Hendon Hooker and you're telling me we're going to have 5? That math don't math, bruh. So I'm going to say that's probably not going to happen.
So second round for Hendon Hooker, third round for
that's where they
Tanner
fall
McKee.
in. And then every other quarterback in this class is, hey, you're not awful. How about you come hold a clipboard for us because you'll never play in this league ever.
So what do you think about that, Seahawks fans? Is that worth a second round, one of the second round picks?
Hendon Hooker backing up Geno Smith, I think, is because he can come in and be a backup right away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the injury might preclude it for a few weeks early. But if something happened to Geno Smith, I think Hendon Hooker would be a pretty seamless transition. And once the 2 years of this deal with Geno Smith are up, is it out of the realm of possibility that you just go, hey, we've shown that it doesn't really matter as long as the quarterback fits our scheme. It doesn't really matter who it is. Hendon Hooker.
Keep it tuned into the Sportsocracy for all your draft miss coverage. Seattle Seahawks team needs in the books. Coming up in the next hour, we'll talk about the team with the 3rd most draft capital in 2023, and that is the Detroit Lions, what they need. Plus, said we'll continue to do this each and every day, and tomorrow we'll be highlighting the teams with the least amount of in 2023. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street, US 1923, exit 3. Future 26 eastbound delays between Riverside Drive and 240. 26 westbound slows approaching Long Shoals Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound crawling between the 26-240 split and Newfound Road. Also in Haywood County, 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. In North Asheville, Merriman Avenue northbound between Weaver Park and Beaver Dam Road. Hendersonville Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Overlook Road. Sweeten Creek Road southbound delays approaching Mills Gap Road. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road moving from Sandhill Road to Bavard Road slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If your company needs to spring into efficient hiring, then check out Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Wait, aren't these all charitable donations?
At Magda's Tax Prep, every person counts.
I'd rather not have to file for an extension.
She needs new auditors to maximize returns on her family time.
On itemized deductions. Hey, can someone help with these 1099s?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participate in U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
Careless debris burning is the leading cause of wildfires in North Carolina. Before you burn, take a look at the weather and avoid burning on dry, windy days. Never leave your fire unattended. You are the best defense against wildfires. Learn more at ncforestservice.gov.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
It's time to discover the convenience and time savings of contact-free pickup with Ingles Curbside. Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup. They'll even text you with updates. You pull up to a designated space and your personal shopper delivers your items right to your vehicle. Fresh, fast, and affordable. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, and as always, you can get in touch with the program through the YouTube stream. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel, and you can join the House of Reprehensibles, and you can super chat your way into getting your question, no matter what it is, answered, and that's exactly what Curtis Davis has done.
Oh, that's my
I'm your huckleberry.
one job.
Says, how do y'all see the Ekeler situation playing out? So Austin Ekeler wants out of Los Angeles. He says he's way underpaid.
He's not.
And he wants another landing spot.
Honestly, how do I see it? But they'll figure out a way to be copacetic with each other. I mean, look, 28-year-old running backs in the NFL are about as valuable as the towels they wipe their foreheads with, because there's not a lot of tread on the tires.
Mm-hmm.
And so he comes up for free agency 2 years from now. He'll be 30 years old. I mean, and he's a productive back in this league. Do I think he's worth drastically more than $6 million? No, I don't. And frankly, I think when he said this, his cap hit this year balloons up to 7, and it goes up to almost 8 next year. I think what he thought was going to happen is the Chargers were going to go, oh, you're such an integral part of our offense. And what they really got was, we were thinking about drafting a between-the-tackles running back anyway, because you don't do that so good. So, I mean, if you got somebody that would like to take your contract, more power to you.
Absolutely.
They can get at it for virtually nothing. Yeah. I mean, do I think there would be a team that would line up to pay him $14 million, almost $50 million over the next 2 years? Probably. You're not going to get much back for him. And so I think that's where the catch-22 comes in. Of the Chargers think he is worth what they are paying him right now, but not anymore. Mm-hmm. They don't want to extend him. And the draft capital you get back for a running back is probably 3 rounds lower than what you think it is.
Yeah.
So could I see a team offering him a 4th-round pick for him? Yeah. Can I see them taking that? Oh, good Lord, no.
But who could those teams be?
That would offer it? I think a slew of them would. Pass-happy teams, Kansas City would certainly – I mean, they're in the same division, so that's not going to be the landing spot. But
right.
I mean, there could be a slew of teams that offered it. I think there's going to be a non-starter for the Chargers.
You are in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Got the Sports Center update coming up in just a moment, and then it'll be time for the daily draft. The top tight end prospects for the last 6 classes.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder side of late March with some near freezing numbers in the valley tonight and tomorrow night, and below average temps here for midweek. We're talking 35 degrees tonight with some sprinkles out there. Sunshine Wednesday, low humidity, high 60, low 32. Sunshine Thursday, high 65. And then some 70s come back in for the weekend ahead, along with rain returning Friday night and Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923, exit 3. Future 26 eastbound delays between Riverside Drive and 240. 26 westbound slows approaching Long Shoals Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound crawling between the 26-240 split and Newfound Road. Also in Haywood County, 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. In North Asheville, Merriman Avenue northbound slow between Weaver Park and Beaver Dam Road. Hendersonville Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Overlook Road. Sweeten Creek Road southbound delays approaching Mills Gap Road. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road moving from Sandhill Road to Bavard Road slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The double steak grilled cheese burrito is now at Taco Bell. 2 servings of grilled marinated steak and a melty 3-cheese layer inside, plus grilled bubbly cheese on the outside. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra. The double steak grilled cheese burrito is now at Taco Bell. 2 servings of grilled marinated steak and a melty 3-cheese layer inside, plus grilled bubbly cheese on the outside. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225C. Waynesville and iHeart radio station.
News, Kevin Durant will make his long-awaited Suns home debut tomorrow against the Timberwolves. Durant will return after missing the last 10 games with an ankle injury. Obviously, his offense, a big plus for Phoenix, but his defense will be the X factor for his new team this postseason, believes ESPN's Chiney Agwumike.
Kevin Durant has really improved in that aspect because I think his offense is so good, you forget that he's switchable, he goes for blocks. So if KD is locked in defensively, this team really has a shot because defense is the biggest predictor of success when it comes to playoff basketball.
Nets shutdown guard Ben Simmons the rest of the season because of a back injury. Miami forward Jimmy Butler out tonight versus Toronto with a neck injury. 2 fully financed bids for the Washington Commanders have been submitted, one by the Josh Harris Group, which now includes Lakers legend Magic Johnson, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the other by Canadian billionaire Steve Apostolopoulos, according to Schefter and ESPN's Brian Windhorst. Both do meet owner Dan Snyder's $6 billion asking price. The Falcons officially named second-year quarterback Desmond Ridder as their starting QB.
If you're experiencing a spring hiring rush, then you need Indeed. Their powerful all-in-one hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
This is the Sportsocracy, and we are heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. You are locked in live on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. You can see us live in the Ingles studio as well. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link. Once you're through to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and you can join the House of Reprehensibles. You can get your super chats in. It's just one of those things that if you want to have your topic talked about, super chatting, it's a great way to do that.
And if you want your little beer mug next to your name, all you have to do is click that join button if you're on anything that's non-Apple, or follow the link in the description if you are on Apple, because we could lead you to water, but we can't find it. So, sorry. Stop buying Apple products. That's really the best thing I can tell you.
Still to come in this hour, we've got several things to talk about. We've got Jeremy's going to take a little bit of a victory lap.
Indeed, I am.
In relation to the Aaron Rodgers topic, we've still got draft team needs for the Detroit Lions. Have a lot of draft capital to play with this year. We'll also talk about something that Jeremy and I are very, very happy about at the end of the hour. But first, top of the third hour of the program, it's daily draft time. And we're doing that thing where we take our position group of the day in the top 13s, and we will draft the best prospects at that position for the last 6 classes, dating back to the 2018 class. How would you take today's position group, the tight ends? I'm already at a disadvantage here, more than usual.
Because I've been really good at tight ends for many years. B, because I have draft grades that make it really easy for me to go receipts.
Right, Mr. Tight End Whisperer here.
Yeah, because I have two I'm going to be taking later that people go, you weren't that high on them. And I can look at Tank and go, was I? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He's always got his little boyfriends of each and every draft, and tight ends. Well, that's why we call him the Tight End Whisperer, because he's hit on several prospects. So anyhow, let's start it off with the number 1 pick. It's obvious who that's got to be.
Yep, and I have it. So I will be taking Florida Gator Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts.
The highest rated tight end I've ever had, ever. Mm-hmm. And probably will remain that way, because I don't think I'll have Brock Bowers ahead of him, but they might have the same grade.
I was going to say, to me it's close, obviously, but I'm a Georgia fan. So.
I mean, preliminarily, they will have the same grade. I don't know that I could ever have a tight end any higher than I had Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I thought he was a wide receiver, and I still think he's a wide receiver.
Look, his last season at Florida was just so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he scored like 18 touchdowns that year. And it just seemed like anywhere Kyle Trask could put the ball, Kyle Pitts was going to get up and go get it. So far, his tenure with the Atlanta Falcons has been pretty good. I mean, he was over 1,000-yard receiver. I think it was the first rookie tight end to have a 1,000-yard season in 80 years or whatever it was. Obviously, he's doing his part. He's just on a bad team.
Yeah, and now we've already, on March 28th, announced on Falcon Day, 3/28. Sorry, Falcons fan.
Oh.
Desmond Ridder will be the starting quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, why did you do that?
Was everybody else busy?
Right.
I mean, I can't get over Atlanta looking at Lamar Jackson going, we're good.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to name Desmond Ridder the starter at this point. Like, there's so much more that you can do. Jake Fromm's available, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he had a shot at Gardner Minshew. He at least had a mullet, which means, you
can get Stetson Bennett in the draft. You could do so many other things.
Hey, Cam Newton's out there. I'm not. Cam Newton said he was not. Actually, he was one of the top 32 quarterbacks. And if Desmond Ridder's 32, I'm not so sure I disagree with you. The problem is that I think Desmond Ridder's actually closer to about 80. By the way, if you haven't seen Cam Newton on the I Am Athlete or something like that with Channing Crowder, he starts in on that. I posted it on our Facebook page. He starts in on that. There aren't 32 quarterbacks better than me. And Channing Crowder went, really? Really, no? Because the stats kind of say that there are. Right. And it's just a 45 seconds of excuses, and it made me laugh a lot.
Kyle Pitts, the A number 1 in the last 6 classes. Actually, you could go back further than that. He would be the A number 1.
He'd be my number 1 ever. If you said, name your number 1 tight end prospect in the history of the NFL, yep, that's the one.
Mm-hmm. All right, that means I've got back-to-back picks here, so less of a chance for me to screw this up now that number 1's out of the way. I got to go with T.J. Hawkinson.
I was about to say, well, you don't get the chance to go O.J. Howard because that was the year before we're talking about.
Yeah, he wouldn't be on my list anyway.
It's a lie. You were excited about him.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if we'd included the 2017 class, he would have been my number 5 pick.
He would have been your number right there pick. Don't lie to me. I was around for that. I remember. Okay?
I was really in love with O.J. Howard.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
And he could have been good in any other system.
Well, he's tried it in 4 more, and we've yet to hit that. So I'm going to say, facts don't care about your feelings.
But that was after injuries and all of that. I mean, he's obviously lost a step since 2017.
I mean, because he's so old now. He's like 26 years old. I'm not even sure he's still walking.
What, he's had two major knee surgeries in the last 3 years? Yeah. I think that matters.
Well, he was awful before that. So.
I mean, he's 26 years old, but his knee is 58.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. He was when that knee was pristine, he was still awful. So
he was not.
Yeah, he was pretty awful.
No, stop that. And so T.J. Hawkinson, obviously, I mean, he comes from tight end U. I mean, he was the perfect scenario for me. All-around guy. He could block. He can catch. I feel like that trade that they made, that Minnesota made this past year with Detroit, was a great move for them. I really like him a lot. Number 2, it's Cole Kmet. I know you're going to be mad about that because he was one of your favorites.
I liked him a lot, but that really just that loosened me up to do exactly what I wanted to do. So if you had taken anybody else there, I was going to make fun of you because he is the third best prospect of the last 6 years.
There was one other I considered, but I had to look at it as overall prospect and not my favorite.
Now I'll go ahead and tell you that that's not who I would have taken right there. I'm going to take and right here I will take exactly who I was going to take right there. It's Michael Mayer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Michael Mayer is 3 here, and I'm not going to lie, it's really, really close with T.J. Hawkinson. I'm not sure that if I had evaluated Hawkinson knowing in doing this what I do now that I wouldn't have had Mayer ahead of him. But I can't really – I mean, I'm using the grades straight out of the book. So Michael Mayer it would be my 3. So he's a really easy selection for me right there. And my next pick is Pat Freiermuth.
That was the one.
How many times did you hear me say that name in the lead up to that draft? And when they drafted him, I said a slew of obscenities because, A, my wife is a Steelers fan, and B, she has been happy with her team more since we've been together than I've been happy with my team in my whole life. And that was just another reason why. I loved him, and I still love him.
Pat was the one that was close for me.
Yeah.
To Cole Kmet. Now, my third pick.
I'm just going to give you a solid piece of advice here. You should probably be sampling the current tight end class.
The current tight end class. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I have strong belief in anybody outside of Michael Mayer in this draft class. I'm not as familiar with Dalton Kincaid and Luke Musgrave.
Dalton Kincaid's the next. That's the right call. Here.
Really?
No doubt.
Okay.
Well, do you see who my next 2 are? Because basically, I've just left the door open for you to go Dalton Kincaid, Luke Musgrave, back to back. Or Sam Laporta, or whichever one you want to throw out there. You do tend to love Iowa tight ends, so.
I mean, I do. I mean, it's hard to argue with the track record. But I'm actually going to go with a guy who's in the league right now. He's already changed teams. It's Noah Fant. Coming into the draft, he was said to be one of the next great tight ends. Now, we're not doing this is not hindsight's 2020 or anything like that. You have to do it as you expected them to be coming into the draft. I had a lot of high hopes for Noah Fant.
I did not. I'll go ahead and tell you he was not on my list.
Really?
Nope. Nope, he was not.
And then since I'm wearing his shirt today, I'll go with Luke Musgrave.
Taking him over Dalton Kincaid?
The old Beaver.
Okay. Well, that now I have to pick between two of my loves, and that's going to be difficult. All right, we'll go undrafted free agent just because I'm going to get this guy's name into this conversation if it kills me.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid will be my next pick. You should have taken him ahead of Noah Fant, undeniably to me. I evaluated Noah Fant basically as a slot receiver, and he has come into this league and done virtually that. Mismatch, he's a headache for sure. But so I'll go Dalton Kincaid, and then the next one, which is one of those players that people, but you could possibly have known that. Oh, yeah, I did. It's Mark Andrews.
Yep.
Now, I had a knock on him that he couldn't block, and that has served to be exactly what it was. I also watched him annihilate my team, and that was enough for me to go, ooh, that boy right there is pretty good. How many times did you hear his name in the lead up to that draft?
A lot.
Yeah, it was about 500.
A lot.
Yeah, we were just doing radio at that. That was before the YouTube's time.
Yeah, that was the Saturdays.
Yeah, that was just on Saturday, and I told Tank no less than 500 times. There's a tight end out of Oklahoma that's really, really – he's actually the one that gave me the tight end whisperer name. And then the 2021 draft came along, and that was on YouTube's as well. So now I have another one that I really want to say because he has the same grade as Mark Andrews, and we'll do that in undrafted free agent because I know you didn't like him.
Okay. My last one, I got to do it. I got to throw him in there because we talked a lot about this kid last year. It's Greg Dulcich. out of UCLA. He was one of my favorite prospects of last year's draft. Whenever you watched UCLA play, you watched his highlight film, he just jumped off the page. And I think he will, with Sean Payton in the building in Denver, that's going to get even better.
Oh, yeah.
So Greg Dulcich is my last selection. All right, UDFA.
I'll let you just go ahead and say yours. There's no chance you're saying who I'm getting ready to say.
Oh, no, because I was absolutely drunk in love with one guy who did not get drafted highly, but I swore to God, and I will say to this day, we are actually talking about him earlier today. With a new rule change in the NFL.
Oh, God.
New rule change in the NFL will allow zeros on jerseys of everyone except for offensive linemen and defensive linemen, and I swear Albert Okwuegbunam needs to change his number to 0 and get him to put Albert on the back, so his back just says Albert O.
I swear to Jehovah, nobody has hyped him more than Tank Spencer.
Nope.
I have now heard it for 4 solid years.
He's a freak of nature.
I don't disagree with that.
He was going to be special. But when he went to the NFL, it just hasn't been in the cards.
No, I actually think Sean Payton will be beneficial for him as well. But, yeah, that wasn't mine. Mine's real simple. And when I say the name, you're going to go, how did I not see that before you just said it? Who do you think I'm about to say?
Adam Troutman.
Nope.
Oh.
Hunter Long.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, Hunter Long out of Boston College. I went nanners over him. And every time a team would bypass him during the draft, I bet I said 50 obscenities just the players that were taking over him. So Los Angeles Rams fans, there's a reason to be excited because you got him back for Jalen Ramsey. Oh, and by the way, I think he's going to be a dog with the LA Rams.
All right, there you have it. There is there are the best tight ends prospects in the last 6 years, according to Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene, and myself. Tight end whisperer versus the big dumb bear.
He's a big dumb bear, folks.
That's right.
It is dumb bear.
The Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Yeah, we all look forward to the days where Jeremy just comes in with that smug look on his face and like he just unfurls his arms and goes, "Are you not entertained?"
That'll be coming next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923, exit 3. 240 eastbound, stop and go between exit 3 and exit 4A. 26 westbound delays approaching Long Shoals Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound crawling between the 26-240 split and Newfound Road. 40 westbound again crawling between NC 209 and US 276. 40 eastbound at the Smoky Park Highway, a disabled vehicle has the shoulder blocked. On Sardis Road, northbound between Brevard Road and Sand Hill Road, traffic is stop and go. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Hendersonville Road southbound slow between Biltmore Forest and Overlook Road near the NC Arboretum. Brevard Road northbound slow between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. An accident reported on US 70 Tunnel Road westbound between Blue Ridge Road and Patton Cove Road.
This report is sponsored by GetRefunds.com. It's about time small businesses like yours got the help you deserve. GetRefunds.com can find out if your business qualifies for ERC assistance in less than 8 minutes and may be eligible for up to $26,000 per employee. Go to GetRefunds.com to get started. That's GetRefunds.com.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
At Staples, school is always in session, and savings never take a holiday, Especially now, during Staples Teacher Palooza. You save big on everything for school, like 20% on all Crayola products, up to 40% on brands like Post-it, Papermate, and Elmer's. Plus, 24-pack cases of True Clear bottled water are only $3.99. During Staples Teacher Palooza, teachers save big and so do you, with classroom deals for everybody. But deals end soon, so hurry to Staples today. Offers end 4/1, in-store only, limit 1 on water while supplies last.
Don't miss the factory authorized clearance at Sonny's Camp and Travel. All 2022 RVs must go. Look for the blue tags with clearance pricing up to 40% off on America's favorite brands. Hurry. When the tags are gone, so are the savings. Get 40% off at the factory authorized clearance at Sonny's Camp and Travel, a Blue Compass RV company. Visit Sonny'sRV.com. Example 22 Braxton Creek Free Solo, number SI 1026, MSRP 22,222. See dealer for details.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other grocery store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
Now, so when I got to Radio Ranch today, I pulled up in the parking lot right next to that beautiful Titan Pro 4X that's outside.
Desert sand. One of these days, I'm going to leave the cameras on just to show people in a 3-minute commercial break, I can annihilate a granola bar. The problem is those would make great coasters, not great food.
Yeah, not great to eat them right before you go on the air either.
Here's the thing, it takes a lot of chews.
Indeed.
Because it says it's chewy. If that's chewy, so is my shoe.
But as I pulled up next to the Titan outside from Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, that's a promo, Jeremy Greene comes out the door and he unfurls the hands and goes, "Are you not entertained?"
No. You don't do it right. Are you not entertained?
As Aaron Rodgers, there's been some developments in the talks, or in what we know about the talks between the Green Bay Packers and the New York Jets.
Article came out late last night from Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports. Packers and the Jets discussing 2 high draft picks in the Aaron Rodgers trade, but stuck on the protection. And in the story, it basically says the Jets are willing to give up a 2 this year and a 2 next year that could turn into a 1. By the way, he did a really poor job of explaining that that's not the hang-up. If the Jets host the AFC Championship game and Aaron is on the roster the 3rd day of the league next year, it becomes a 1.
Mm-hmm.
We're all hunky-dunky with that. Here's where it's currently sitting, that it's not done yet. If he's not on the roster and they don't host the AFC Championship game, they want it to come back to a 4. Green Bay is calling that a non-starter. All right. So if you're one of those people that says, well, you still don't know what you're talking about, we're still getting a 1. Okay. Your GM, your guy, not my guy, which, by the way, if you think I don't have a guy, I have a bridge to sell you because it's weird how often I'm right on the Jets.
Oh, he does.
Packers GM Brian Gutekunst said it isn't necessary to a potential deal that they get a number 1 first-round pick.
Right.
And you remember when I've said that 800 times? But I'm sure your guy's lying. I'm sure your GM's just trying to save face. That's never been the sticking point here. And I'm going to be honest with you. It's one of the things that makes me laugh the most about how people value players in this league. I've actually had people tell me they think the Tennessee Titans want a first-round pick for Derrick Henry. Do you know how hard people like me laugh at you when you send us that? Because it's so far off of what an evaluation is. A 39-year-old quarterback is not worth a first-round pick. I don't care who it is. Tom Brady was not worth this. And he won a Super Bowl. The value's not there. And you can tell me about leverage. I don't want to argue about the leverage anymore. I've said my piece on that. You've said your piece on that. It's fine. All right, we've argued about this on Twitter for weeks. Here's why I wanted to bring this up. According to my sources, which again, Tank, this is the point where you go, his sources are pretty good. This is getting close to being done. It's getting close to being done because now we're getting into the real big boy talk. Did Green Bay want a one? Sure. I wanted a date with all 5 Spice Girls and wanted it up until I met my wife. Didn't happen. You know why? Because I might have the desire for that. They don't. And it's the way it works. That's how this is going to work. And now what I eventually think will happen is that what they're going to settle on is that you get 42 this year. I'm not so sure that they don't flip-flop 13 and 15. That's what I did in my mock draft because that has been low-key floated. And that's enough. Mm-hmm. That's enough for Green Bay to give up the addendums onto this. Because I'll go ahead and tell you, the thing the Jets are worried about is what Aaron said on Pat McAfee show, that he was 90% retired when he went into the darkness because he didn't tell them that. When they had the meeting, that was never said. Mm-hmm. The first time they heard that was when we all heard it on the Pat McAfee show, and that scares them to death.
It would be concerning to me, but here's the other thing. I feel like there's almost no way this goes wrong.
Oh, it can't.
As in, Aaron Rodgers comes to the New York Jets and quote-unquote Jets gonna jet, and they end up being 7-10.
No, that's not going to happen.
I don't see any
Look at the schedule.
Yeah, I don't see any path to that happening. So you're trying to convince me that there is a serious risk that Aaron Rodgers, after, let's say, the Jets go 11-7, make the playoffs, maybe win a playoff game, maybe 2. Just say, let's leave it at just 1 playoff game. You're telling me Aaron's going to be like, I've had enough, I'm leaving. Now, granted, he could get injured this season.
There are a slew of things that could happen.
Right. Any type of injury to Aaron Rodgers would obviously put his career back into perspective. But I don't think this is a guy who's ready to hang it up at all. I mean, if you soured on your relationship of, damn near 20 years in the place that you've been forever, yeah, I mean, maybe do I want to move on or do I want to call it quits? That's a tough decision. You go and sign up at a new place, find some success. You're building on something here. You got a window to win a bunch of games in the next few years. I think that's a markedly different scenario of Aaron Rodgers with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers.
No doubt. I mean, look, this Jet roster is really good, and that's not me as a fan saying that. This roster's good.
Mm-hmm.
There's been 2 teams in NFL history that ever had the offensive and defensive rookie of the year. However, Aaron's a kooky guy. He just is. So the Jets want some form of protection. They have told me that since the jump of this. And then the Pat McAfee interview scared him a little bit. Didn't scare him off of him. They still know this is the quarterback we want. There's a reason they immediately shot down the Lamar Jackson thing. Mm-hmm. We're not chasing Lamar Jackson. You can throw basically the way it was said, you can throw your money away on that all you want to. That's not what we're doing. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback of this team. They can't come out and say that because he's on another roster.
Right.
There's a reason every member of the Jets front office is cool as the other side of the pillow because they know. And now there's another tentacle of this that I haven't said yet. Do you remember what Green Bay gave up to get Jordan Love?
No.
They had the 30th pick in the draft. Miami had 26. They traded a 4th-round pick to go up and get Jordan Love.
Okay.
Well, if you get a 2nd-round pick, it takes that away. Because now you have recouped the value for the quarterback that you had for the one that you traded up for. And so in their mind, Green Bay does not like losing trades. And right now there is a belief in the building, we didn't have to trade up. We didn't have to trade up because nobody's been interested in him. Even when Aaron was playing, nobody was barking up our door. Search Jordan Love trade on Google. See how many beat writer reports come up. It's not because they were dead sold on him. It's because there came a time where they went, we need to move this asset. We need to recoup value because that's what Green Bay does.
Mm-hmm.
So they do not want to look as though they lost this trade. In NFL circles, if they get 2-2s, they should be the happiest team in the NFL. That's not me. As a Jets fan, you can call me whatever you want to. I don't care. This is universal. If you get 2-2s for this, and he plays 2 years, this was a win-win because he was not playing for you. You offended him. See, that's where you don't understand leverage. The minute you offended this guy to this point that he went and just put you on blast on the Pat McAfee show, he was never coming back to you. That's where your leverage goes away. Okay? This is where people don't value draft picks for what they're actually worth. A second-round draft pick is gold. It's gold, especially when it's in the top 10 picks of the second round, and this one's 11. 31 picks in the first round. This one's 42. So this is a golden piece of draft capital that you're getting for absolutely nothing because this is a player that's not playing for you. It's found money. My grandfather had a saying when I was a kid, and it's one of my favorite lines in the English language. Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. Because I have been told if they had kept pressing the first-round pick thing, they'd have walked away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, we're not. You are not going to bully us into this because there's nobody else bidding against us. That's why I was so dogmatic about this all this time. And thank you to Charles Robinson and thank you to Brian Gutekunst for going, hey, the big mulleted idiot is right. I have a funny feeling this gets done in the next week or two.
Mm-hmm. Satisfied Browns fan asks, so why is Zach Wilson still there then?
Because he's cheap labor. That's why.
Yeah.
There's really because there's no upside to trading because nobody will give you anything. Right. He's a broken toy now. So he can be your 2, sit behind Aaron Rodgers that he trusts. This is his guy. He grew up loving Aaron Rodgers. And their thought is if we can get anything out of him, we start seeing it in practice. I mean, you got to understand, his player option is still only going to be $12 million because the chances of him playing more than 2 or 3 games in the next few years is injury exclusive. So if he shows you something, you can kick in that option and basically do what the New York Giants just did with Daniel Jones.
Right.
You get a very cheap look at what this kid can be. And here's the thing: if the Aaron Rodgers thing doesn't work out, then it's probably going to be a new coach that's having a new front office anyway.
Right.
So it's a win-win.
See, that's where I come back to. What do you expect Zach Wilson would be worth
5
on the open market?
5, I asked.
Exactly.
Yeah, there are teams that would still be willing to give a mid-day 3 pick just to see what they possibly have in him. But that's a lottery ticket to the highest degree. Mm-hmm. And the Jets are just not interested in tapping out on him.
No.
Because the fear is, what if he goes somewhere else and does a Geno Smith?
Absolutely.
He was terrible with the Jets, he was terrible with the Giants, and then he goes to some stable organization, and it makes us look like morons. There's no upside there. That's not worth a 5th-round pick. I'll keep him on the roster. If something happens to our 39-year-old quarterback, then we'll play him. If it doesn't, then we won't. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Stay tuned. The most important message of the day coming up next, as well as the top draft needs for the Detroit Lions.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder side of late March with some near freezing numbers in the valley tonight and tomorrow night, and below average temps here for midweek. We're talking 35 degrees tonight with some sprinkles out there. Sunshine Wednesday, low humidity, high 60, low 32. Sunshine Thursday, high 65. And then some 70s come back in for the weekend ahead, along with rain returning Friday night and Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 westbound between Chuns Cove Road and Montford Avenue. 240 eastbound stop and go between exit 3 and exit 4A. Future 26 westbound slowing between Broadway Street to just past Elk Mountain Road. 26 westbound is slow approaching Long Shoals Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound is crawling between the 26-240 split and Newfound Road. 40 westbound again crawling between NC 209 and US 276. Sardis Road northbound is stop and go between Brevard Road and Sand Hill Road. Hendersonville Road southbound slow between Biltmore Forest and Overlook Road. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. Near Canton, US 23 southbound on the Asheville Highway slow between Holder Branch Road and Chestnut Mountain Road. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. When your ride fires on all cylinders, so do you. That's why Napa is on a mission to keep you in motion. With nearly 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores and over 17,000 Napa Auto Care centers, the Napa network has everything you need to get up and go.
The Atlanta Braves are back, and this 2023 team is ready for another epic season.
1-1 pitch. There's a deep drive to left center field. This thing is clear for takeoff. Back-to-back home runs, Ozuna and Riley.
Thursday afternoon, it's the 2023 season opener live from Washington, D.C. as the Atlanta Braves open the season against the Nationals.
Airtime is 12:50 Thursday afternoon on your home for Braves baseball in Western North Carolina. ESPN Asheville.
Don't miss the factory-authorized clearance at Sonny's Camp and Travel. All 2022 RVs must go. Look for the blue tags with clearance pricing up to 40% off on America's favorite brands. Hurry. When the tags are gone, so are the savings. Get 40% off at the factory-authorized clearance at Sonny's Camp and Travel, a Blue Compass RV company. Visit Sonny'sRV.com. Example 22 Braxton Creek Free Solo, number SI 1026, MSRP 22,222. See dealer for details.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. Time for the most important message of the day.
Don't do crimes!
Yeah, it's one of Jeremy's favorite topics, too.
Birds.
No.
Squirrels.
Nah.
Raccoons.
So close.
Other varmints.
No.
Ah!
This is actually keeping money that's not yours.
Oh, did he find it?
Nope.
Oh.
The story comes to us from Stamford, New Jersey. Stamford Public Schools on November 20th, 2020, a woman named Shaylin Coley was hired to be a substitute teacher. Her pay rate that she agreed to, $105 per day. Well, in 2022, you'd think she worked a lot because she earned $54,000. Here's the problem. She only worked 2 days.
That's a high per day work rate.
Coley worked 2 days and was mistakenly paid $27,300 per day by the City of Stamford Payroll Department. After taxes, she brought in just over $27,000, and then they realized there was a mistake. She didn't say anything, obviously. She did the Jeremy Greene thing where it's like, oh, they gave me $27,000. I guess this is just my money now.
I'm still maintaining, if the money you put in my account does not become my problem. Because all right, so if you're walking down the street and you got a roll of Hundies in your pocket and it falls out and I pick it up, am I legally obligated not to go, mine? It's the same premise. You mishandled your money. It wound up in my hand. I didn't commit a crime.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with that. It's the false pretenses. So there's something in there. Anyway, police say there were email communications between Coley and Stanford Public Schools officials, obviously, which they would come to her and say, hey, we overpaid you by a lot. We're going to need that money back. Her response to them was, so I already called my bank, and they told me there's nothing that I can do about it. That y'all have to reverse the transaction on your side.
Well, it stands to reason.
You think so?
There's
nothing you can do? There's nothing you can't just write me a check right now for the $27,000 that's in your bank account.
Can't. Spent it.
Gonna say that's a lie, because we all know it is. So apparently there was an agreement reached finally she did agree through all of these communications that I will drop you a check for the amount that I owe. You know when she did it? Never. She never showed. Shocker of shockers, she never showed up. And then when they tried to get back in touch with her and they sent her a letter by mail.
You send me a letter with the winning lottery numbers in it, I would never see it.
Strangely enough, it came back marked return to sender. January 31st, a judge granted police a search warrant for Coley's bank account records, and it showed that she had a standing balance at that time of $19,863.
Spent it.
Spent a good portion of it. Spent over $8,000 of what she was owed, or what she owed back to the school for the overpayment, and now she is charged with larceny in the first degree.
Still maintain, maybe you should be a little more careful with your money. My story comes from the great state of Louisiana and the LSU Tigers. We are far, far away from college football season. However, apparently the concession stands at Tiger Stadium are still plentiful with something I'm a huge fan of, and that is the domestic light.
Okay.
And an LSU student named Bryce Talata had just a genius idea. I'm gonna break into Tiger Stadium. How he got in, I have absolutely no idea. I'm gonna load up some domestic lights into a truck, and then I'm gonna go drink them.
I'm gonna free them. They're in prison right now. They need to be enjoyed.
He tried to liberate the domestic lights.
Exactly.
To the tune of $1,500 worth of beer. I don't know how good you are at math, but that translates into roughly 75 cases of beer.
That's a lot.
So he loads up the truck, drives away. Now, how many problems can you spot with this idea in just the base tenet of what I have told you?
Well, how do you expect to break into Tiger Stadium without getting noticed is the first question.
Well, he broke in. But what do college football stadiums tend to have a lot of?
Gates.
Oh, well, gates, yes. But what records things that you do?
Security cameras.
All of them. He was spotted on 17 of them, including one that was in the parking lot where the truck that he drove away was located. That's problem one. Problem two, what do trucks have on them that identify them as specific trucks?
License plates.
He drove his own truck, and he put the tailgate up in clear view of the camera. He looked at the camera and then drove away. Police in Baton Rouge go to his dorm room, and guess what they found sitting in the corner?
75 cases of beer.
We don't actually know how many, because it doesn't say that in the story. I did the math on, and it's about 75.
Is that what you would buy them in the store for? Or
that's the question.
Yeah.
Now, that's the question. Here's why that's the question. If you're charging him for what they were purchased for, and it's 75 cases, then that's petty theft, and he was charged with on a single count of simple burglary.
Okay.
Now, if you charge him for what the resale on that was, then it goes over the threshold, and now it turns into a felony.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need a follow-up here, okay? I'm going to need to know that this is a simple college student who was just trying to liberate some domestic lights, okay? I mean, you don't do crimes regardless.
Right. And see, this
But
is
he was
completely
just
different.
thirsty.
This is completely different than my story, because if you're in your dorm room one night just paying attention, not paying attention to anything, and then all of a sudden somebody knocks on your door and mistakenly leaves their 75 cases of domestic lights outside, then maybe they're yours.
Cousin Colin Greene in the comments said, because of my accent, when I say Baton Rouge, it sounds like Zach Wilson. I mean, you want me to say it with some flair? You want me to say it like Ed Orgeron, Baton Rouge? Go Tigers.
Yeah, don't do that.
I mean, I could do that if you would like me to.
All right, so the kid has been charged with a misdemeanor.
Currently.
Simple theft.
But we are awaiting word on what the final charges will be.
I hope he has a clean track record at LSU.
Yes. Don't do crimes and don't be stupid, and really don't do stupid crimes.
And this is the Sportsocracy, your one-stop shop for all things Draftmas season.
We wish you a Merry Draftmas. We wish you a Merry Draftmas.
Of all the teams in the NFL that have, draft capital, we've already talked about the Houston Texans, who have the most. Seattle's 2. And number 3 is the Detroit Lions.
And a happy next year. You really made me hang on to that one for a while,
I did. The Detroit Lions have the 3rd most capital in this upcoming draft, which, I mean, they don't have they have 2 first-round picks. They have 2 second-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, they're doing
2
real well. Yeah, they're doing quite nicely in the draft capital. I would also argue they have the easiest draft day with what they've done in free agency. I could argue you have the easiest draft day of any team in the NFL, because they have 6. They have a 6 pick, which means there's 5 picks in front of them. 3 of those are going to be quarterbacks. There are 3 elite defensive prospects. Just take the one that falls to you. If it's Jalen Carter, yay! If you get your choice of 2, even better. If not, take the one that's there.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the highest Jalen Carter could go.
I would agree.
I just struggle to believe that Seattle's going to do it with Will Anderson on the board, and I kind of struggle to believe they'll do it with Tyree Wilson on the board, because the action behind him over the last month has really gotten loud. The people that love him just love him, and I like Tyree Wilson a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's some tape that bothers me a little bit, but he was on a bad team. And I look at the Lions, and I'm not sure that Jalen Carter doesn't fit you better than anybody else. Now, am I sure that Brad Holmes wants to take you? No. He has a track record of not taking guys that have serious red flags. Now, I don't know exactly what his personnel profile says. I know what I've been told, and some of it I'm not going to report on the show because I don't know if it's true or not.
Mm-hmm.
If what I know is true, I'll bet you anything you want Detroit's not taking him. If Detroit does take him, then you should feel better about his long-term prospects, because it means that some of this has been overblown.
Right. It makes perfect sense to me to see the Detroit Lions take him, because interior defensive lineman is very high on their priority list, or should be. And if it's not him, then what? You go Tyree Wilson?
Yes.
And then take your chances on who later in the draft. If you need a defensive tackle, because Levi Onwuzurike can't stay healthy.
No, I would go Adebawore from Northwestern. There's a lot of momentum for him being a 3-4 defensive end that can really be a good pass rusher. It's a piece that they don't really have. That's probably the way I would go. I also can't fault you if you decided you wanted to go Jalen Carter at 6 and then take a corner at 18. Let's say somehow Devin Witherspoon falls that far, or Joey Porter falls that far. I mean, yeah, you signed a lot of secondary pieces. You didn't sign many of them to long-term deals. So I'm still not sure that you have the long-term solutions there, but you've taken away from being a must. You don't have to do anything, and you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really go best player available. In my last mock draft, I had them taking Tyree Wilson and Adebawore out of Northwestern.
Adebawore. It's the only way I'm going to remember it.
Yeah. But now if you're looking at what they need in the rest of the draft, I really want to see them draft a linebacker with one of these picks. I think both 6 and 18 are too high for that. I don't think there's a huge difference between Trenton Simpson, Jack Campbell, Deion Henley, and Drew Sanders. So for me, I'm going to attack two of my needs at 6 and 18, and then I'm going to take the linebacker that falls to me at 49. I still would like to see them add a receiver. I know they have Jamison Williams coming back. I'm well aware of that. That's not – I think there needs to be another piece. And here's something I never thought I was going to say out loud. The Detroit Lions have done such a good job of addressing their needs that you don't have a ton of them. The offensive line is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge Josh Reynolds guy. I'm just not. I never have been. I think he's a legit 4.
So you have to replace him in the rotation.
I think so.
Or push him down in the rotation.
I mean, I would like to have a receiver of some size because neither Amon St. Brown or Jamison Williams are big guys.
Mm-hmm.
And Lions fans love saying, we got more production from our tight ends than anybody else. Yeah, Brandon Zylstra's not that good. So if they decided to go that route, I wouldn't mind that either. This is a really deep class of tight ends. A lot of places have said that they're really interested in Luke Musgrave, which wouldn't shock me in the least.
So who is that big-bodied receiver?
A.T. Perry is the one that I would be. That's who I would be after. Because just think about him. Think about A.T. Perry on the other side of Jamison Williams and Amon St. Brown. Because you're going to have to leave him one-on-one all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, to me, that's rather intriguing.
That's kind of how you want it.
Mm-hmm.
So tight ends on the board, wide receiver. Obviously, you got a defensive tackle, edge rusher, linebacker.
I would love to see all of the positions that I've already said. I'd also like to see a safety at some point. Not necessarily I have to do this. I like Kirby Joseph a lot, a kid that they took last year. I wouldn't mind them pairing him with another member of the Illinois Fighting Illini in Sidney Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really solidifies your safety tandem for a long time. Because Tracy Walker he's fine. He's fine. I don't think there's anything to write home about.
This C.J. Gardner-Johnson will play a lot of safety.
Yeah, he's going to play a lot of slot. That's. I mean, he's going to roam around and do. I get that, but the best way for him to make this defense better is to be. Yes, I could be a roaming safety against teams that are not great in the slot, and when I play a team that has a legit high-end slot receiver, that's where I spend most of my time.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Aaron Glenn wants this defense to be multiple. And, I mean, I feel like you hit a home run with Aiden Hutchinson last year. I feel like you hit a home run with Malcolm Rodriguez. And now you need 2 or 3 more of those in this draft.
Mm-hmm. As he said, the Detroit Lions do not have gaping holes.
No.
That they need somebody.
Brad Holmes has done an unbelievable job with this roster.
I would have thought, before they made the move, bringing in David Montgomery, running back would have been on the list, but that's now off the table. I mean, you might take one in the 6th round. You think?
John Robinson looks awful good on this team. I'm just saying. If he falls to 18, don't be shocked. In my last
we
mock
can move
draft,
one of those other pieces.
Yeah. If in my last mock draft, there's a reason that Philadelphia traded up to 17 with Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was not getting past Detroit at 18.
Yeah,
David Montgomery, it's adorable. You can get out of that deal in a year.
I don't foresee him falling that far, but if he does, that could be a name on the board. But other than that, it's not going to be a priority.
Well, it's not a priority. It's just hey, if this kid falls in your lap, would you rather take a defensive tackle with one of those second-round picks, a linebacker with one of those second-round picks, and you take a little bit of a luxury with the running backs? Big Noriega said, crazy how you talk about Detroit and never bring up James Houston. Yeah, I really like to see a guy play more than 200 snaps, but he's a good player as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've mentioned him every other time we've talked about the Lions, so it's all right. I mentioned 2 players on the defense. If you want me to go down the 2 deep, I can do that, but it's.
But if he was that good, would they?
He's a situational pass rusher.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's what he is. He's never going to play as a 3-down edge guy. I mean, he's a good pass rusher. But is that going to preclude them from taking Tyree Wilson? No, it's not. And then you got 3 in a rotation. So, I mean, there's a reason they're attached to Will Anderson. They're attached to Tyree Wilson anytime somebody talks about it. And that wasn't a shot at him. People do that to me with James Houston all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm trying to devalue him. It's just he's a situational pass rusher.
You are in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, and, of course, heard everywhere or seen everywhere on YouTube. When we come back, Jeremy and I are both very happy about one of the developments taking place today in Raleigh. We'll get you up to date on what that is next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is crawling 240 westbound between Chuns Cove Road and US 1923 exit 3. 240 eastbound delays between Bavard Road and US 1923 exit 4A. Future 26 westbound slowing between 240 and Broadway Street. 26 westbound slow between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway.
This report is sponsored by GB Shoe Warehouse.
GB Shoe Warehouse on Tunnel Road in Asheville and in Hendersonville has slip-ins by Skechers, Hoka, Hey Dudes, Birkenstock, and tons of work boots. Shoes for the whole family. GB Shoe Warehouse. Happier from the feet up.
Don't miss the factory-authorized clearance at Sonny's Camp and Travel. All 2022 RVs must go. Look for the blue tags with clearance pricing up to 40% off on America's favorite brands. Hurry. When the tags are gone, so are the savings. Get 40% off at the factory-authorized clearance at Sonny's Camp and Travel, a Blue Compass RV company. Visit Sonny'sRV.com. Example 22 Braxton Creek Free Solo, number SI 1026, MSRP 22222. See dealer for details.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, and Jeremy
One
and I.
job.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I was looking for the happy song and I couldn't find it, so I mean, I guess we.
So
can
we
just,
went no song. Let's just.
I guess we can just play this one because this one makes as much sense.
Here comes the money.
That one.
Here we go. Money talk. Here comes
Yeah, because the state of North Carolina could be
so
in.
much better.
Yeah, could be in line for a whole bunch of revenue. Should House Bill 347 pass today? So they have gone through the process. They are doing votes as we speak. Every amendment that has been put forth to change this bill that would allow legal sports gambling in the state of North Carolina and allow all of the professional sports teams to open casinos or open sports books in their stadiums, it's expected to pass with flying colors, and every amendment that has been put forth has failed today. They have zipped through 7 amendments in what feels like the last 15 minutes and just went fail, 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 fail. It looks like, boys and girls, we're on the cusp of having legal sports gambling in the state of North Carolina by January 1st of next year. That's when this bill would take effect. Now, the funnier part of this is the legislative staff, of course, they do all the cost analysis and stuff. What could we generate from legal sports gambling in the state of North Carolina? Legislative staff analysts say sports wagering could generate on an annual level, how much, Jeremy?
Annual in the state of North Carolina?
For the state.
$10 billion.
No, not even close. $40 million. They
might generate $40 million for me by myself.
They expect $40.6 million annually in net economic impact here. That's the important part, the net economic impact. But the revenue to the state could be ginormous.
Legalize it right now. Let's go.
We'll keep you up to date on it. Obviously, we'll see if the vote happens tonight. It would still have to go to the Senate, but they are expected to have the votes in the Senate to pass this and make it law. You are in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. We will rejoin you tomorrow at 3 right here in the Ingles studio.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder side of late March with some near freezing numbers in the valley tonight and tomorrow night, and below average temps here for midweek. I'm talking 35 degrees tonight with some sprinkles out there. Sunshine Wednesday, low humidity, high 60, low 32. Sunshine Thursday, high 65. And then some 70s come back in for the weekend ahead, along with rain returning Friday night and Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic crawling 240 westbound between Chuns Cove Road and US 1923 exit 3. 240 westbound is stop and go between Brevard Road and I-40. 240 eastbound delays between exit 3 and exit 4A. Future 26 westbound stop and go between Riverside Drive and Elk Mountain Road. 26 westbound stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound stop and go between the 26-240 split and Georges Branch Road. 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. Sardis Road northbound stop and go between Brevard Road.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries starting at just $79.99. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.